Sir,
Sir, Ravi sir,
Madam.
Yeah.
Good morning, sir. Register, sir.
good morning, all of you.
Very
Welcome
good morning,
to
sir.
the national webinar, sir.
Thank you.
Sir, shall we start, sir?
Yes, go ahead as per your schedule.
Okay, sir.
Sir,
Madam, please.
register.
Yeah.
Sir, register, sir. Keep your mobile in a horizontal mode, sir, so that your view will be in a.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. I will start, sir. Sweta, madam, please.
Go back.
Yes,
Yeah.
thank you. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
On behalf of Mahatma Gandhi University, I, Dr. Shweta, welcome you to the national webinar on research methodology for social sciences. To begin with, I request Ms. Advaita to sing the prayer song. Ms. Advaita.
या कुन्देन्दु तुषारहारधवला या शुभ्रवस्त्रान्विता या वीणावरदण्डमण्डितकरा या श्वेतपद्मासना या ब्रह्माच्युतशङ्करा प्रभृतिभिः देवैः सदा वन्दिता सा मां पातु सरस्वती भगवती निःशेषजाड्यापहा. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Advaita. At the outset, I would like to thank our Vice Chancellor, Sri Arvind Kumar IAS, and Registrar, Professor M. Yadagiri Garu, for permitting us for this webinar session. Before we move on, I would like to give a brief introduction about our university and our department. Mahatma Gandhi University is upgraded as university from a PG center in the year 2007 to cater the academic needs of remote students and backward regions. Ever since the inception, the university is committed to the cause and promotion of academic excellence. Our university offers multiple range of programs in arts, humanities, sciences, social sciences, engineering and technology, commerce, and business management. There are around 80 plus colleges which are affiliated to our university, and we have a very beautiful campus, green campus, which is spread over 250 acres in Ellarediguda of Nalgonda. Coming to our Department of Management Studies, we have a best academicians having vast experience in various fields that enable us to impart practical knowledge to the student community. We constantly strive to transform the students into managers, researchers, teachers, entrepreneurs, and to be successful leaders. We run with the motto to imbibe ethics and human values among young managers. We offer multiple courses, that is MBA and MBA Tourism and Travel Management, which is a 2-year course, and MBA Integrated Program, which is a 5-year course. Now that, as we realize that the times are uncertain, but we cannot let the pandemic stop us from knowledge sharing. The coronavirus might have shut down the classes, but it cannot shut down the virtual knowledge sharing classrooms. So instead of pressing the pause button on learning so hard, this national webinar is being organized. So I wish you all a pleasant day ahead. Have happy learning. Thank you for this opportunity. May I now request Ms. Ramsha Kalik, our research scholar, to introduce the head of the department and convener of the program.
Respected dignitaries and my dear colleagues, a very good morning to all of you. Today, I take this as my proud privilege to introduce you today the head and the convener for today's webinar, Dr. Suresh Reddy Jakka. Dr. Suresh Reddy, with more than 21 years of professional experience, is currently head and assistant professor with Department of Management Studies, Mahatma Gandhi University, Nalgonda. Sir has pursued PhD in management from Osmania University, Hyderabad. He has published over 30 articles in international, national journals and edited books, and also have published 3 books. He has presented papers at several national and international conferences and seminars. Dr. Reddy is an associate editor for International Journal of Retailing and Rural Business Perspectives, and also working as editorial board member for Mustang Journal of Business and Ethics USA and Manjira Journal for Social Science Research. Dr. Reddy is a teacher by choice, and he is also a trainer, motivator, and a researcher. His research and training interest includes especially marketing management, retail management, quantitative techniques, and so on and so forth. Dr. Reddy has organized 3 national level seminars sponsored by Andhra Pradesh State Council of Higher Education, Hyderabad, and University Grant Commission, New Delhi. Dr. Reddy has worked as Vice Principal, Nilagiri Boys Hostel, MG University for the academic year 2013 till 15. He worked as an Assistant Controller of Examination Documentation, MGU from 2016 till 18. He is a member, Board of Studies in Management, MGU from 2015 onwards. He is a member in various bodies of MGU, such as Anti-Ragging and Library Committee. He is also a governing body member and selection committee member for various colleges affiliated to MG University. At last, but not the least, Dr. Suresh Reddy is a much sought after speaker to be a keynote speaker, resource person, invited person for international and national level conferences. I now take this opportunity to please call upon Dr. Suresh Reddy to take the charge and address the gathering. Sir,
Thank you, Ramsha Kalik.
you're welcome, sir.
Respected Registrar Sir, Professor Yadagiri Sir, and Dr. M. Srilakshmi Madam, Chairperson of this seminar, Principal, University College of Commerce and Business Management, Dr. Aluvala Sir, Director, Academic Audit Cell, and also Chairman, Board of Studies in Management Studies, and Dr. Sweta, Dr. Venkatramana Reddy Sir, Dr. Ramesh Kumar, Dr. Sarita, Dr. Pravalika, Lakshmi Prabha Madam, Dr. Anuradha, Dr. Sabina Madam, and Dr. Jayaprakash Narayan, Dr. John Paul, Swapna, and Jyoti, Surendra Prasad Sir, and all other colleagues who are joined in this national webinar. Good morning, one and all. And today, on behalf of Department of Management Studies, Mahatma Gandhi University, we come forward to organize a national webinar on research methodology for the social sciences. This national webinar is organized to enlighten the knowledge for the research scholars who are pursuing their PhDs and also the faculty of management who are engaged in the active research. So particularly this national webinar on research methodology maybe helps the people to understand the dynamics of the social science research. Why? Because we have a good speakers like Dr. Y. Jahangir sir from Usmania University and Dr. Chetan Srivatsava from University of Hyderabad. So the both speakers are going to provide much knowledge regarding this social science research, and the Jahangir sir is going to be explain you about the fundamental things lied about this social science research, and whereas Chetan Srivatsava sir is going to be explain about the tools, data analysis tools used in this social science research. So hope this particular national webinar maybe helps to all the participants who are joined in this national webinar. And at last but not the least, I thank Sri Arvind Kumar Garu, the in-charge Vice Chancellor of Mahatma Gandhi University, and Professor Yadagiri sir, Registrar of this Mahatma Gandhi University, for their continuous encouragement and permitting us to conduct this national webinar on research methodology for the social sciences. Thank you. Thank you one and all. Now I ask Prabhavati, research scholar, to introduce the chairperson, Dr. M. Sri Lakshmi, to the participants of this national webinar.
Okay, thank you, sir. Good morning, one and all. I, G. Prabhavati, research scholar at Mahatma Gandhi University under the supervision of Dr. J. Suresh Reddy Garu. It's an immense pleasure to introduce our respected principal and chairperson of today's webinar, Dr. M. Sri Lakshmi Garu. Dr. M. Sri Lakshmi Garu, working as principal, College of Commerce and Business Management, and associate professor in the Department of Management Studies, Mahatma Gandhi University, Nalgonda, since 2013. Her qualifications are BCom, MBA with HR and Finance. She received Doctor of Philosophy in the area of finance, particularly lease financing, in the year 2005 from Sri Krishnadevaraya University, Anantapur. She has 25 years of teaching experience at PG level. She held many positions at department and university level, such as Chairperson, Board of Studies for Management Studies, Head of the Department, Department of Management Studies, IQAC Director, and Chairperson, Women Protection Cell at Mahatma Gandhi University. She also has international experience as visiting professor in abroad, Canada for short duration. She has received 3 national level awards, Adarsha Vidya Saraswati Rashtriya Puraskar from Global Management Council, Gujarat in the year 2018. Received Best Head of the Department Award from ITSR Foundation, Jaipur, March 2019. IRDP Award for Best Teacher in the August 2019 from IRDP Tamil Nadu. To her research credit, she has published 4 books, 22 articles in various national and international journals and book chapters. She also has more than 25 papers presented in national and international conferences. As a resource person, she delivered lecture and she chaired for many conferences at national and international level. She also organized many FDP programs as former director IQAC. She has visited more than 10 countries worldwide. She has life membership in many management associations in India, and she is a PhD supervisor having 2 scholars. Now I request our Honorable Chairperson, Dr. M. Sri Lakshmi Garu, to address the participants.
A very good morning to one and all. At the outset, first I congratulate Dr. Suresh Reddy, Head of the Department, and Organizing Committee for organizing National Webinar on Research Methodology in Social Sciences. I welcome all the participants to today's National Webinar. Honorable Vice Chancellor Arvind Garu, respected Registrar Professor M. Yadagiri Garu, Academic Audit Director Aluvala Garu, Miriala Ramesh, Controller of Examinations, dear colleagues, other principals, heads of the department, directors of Mahatma Gandhi University, my dear colleagues in the department, dear students, research scholars, and participants. Even in the participants, there are faculty members, resource persons, industrialists, students, and others. I welcome all of you for today's national webinar. Finally, I welcome today's resource persons, Dr. Jahangir Garu and Dr. Chetan Srivastava, for accepting our invitation and participating to deliver on research methodology. I also thank express my gratitude to Dr. Anjaneyulu, technical person, for extending his support for making this conference to run and to be successful. Finally, I'll expect all the participants to participate and take maximum benefit from the resource persons. Hope you will meet your expectations out of this program. Nowadays, only one thing I would like to tell you is, in a pandemic situation, COVID-19, everywhere research is going on in a science and technology. They're competing to do research to the unlimited extent. Of course, even social sciences they are doing for understanding the economy of the world, understanding the economy of India, comparing the economies of different parts of the world. This will not stop maybe for 3 to 6 months. After we get maybe the solution as in the form of vaccine or in the form of injection or in the form of precautions, but we have to be very cautious by following, till then by following SMS, as basically you have to have SMSs stands for, all of us know very well, it's S. First S is social distance, second is mask, and the third one is safety of individual and the family. So stay home, stay home, and I thank for the organizing committee for giving me this opportunity. Thank you one and all. So over to
Thank you.
Suresh,
Thank you.
convener.
Thank you, madam. Thank you very much for delivering a message to this national webinar. Now I request Rajender Gaud to introduce the patron of this seminar, Chairman, Board of Studies in Management Studies, Dr. Ravi Aluvala sir, to the webinar.
A very pleasant morning to the respected dignitaries and the members in the meeting. This is B. Rajender Gaud, research scholar working under the supervision of Dr. J. Suresh Reddy sir, Mahatma Gandhi University, Nalgonda. I am very excited today to introduce Dr. Ravi Aluvala sir to you all now. Dr. Ravi Aluvala is currently working as Associate Professor in the Department of Management Studies of Mahatma Gandhi University, Nalgonda. He is also the Director, Academic Audit Cell, MGU, as well as Chairman, Board of Studies of the Department of Management Studies in the university. He also worked as Principal and Head for the University College of Commerce and Business Management, MGU, Nalgonda. He obtained his MBA and PhD degree from Usmania University, Hyderabad, and has an overall vast experience of 25 years, in which 15 years of teaching and 10 years of industry. He is also working as research supervisor in guiding the research scholars to obtain their PhD degrees. Under his supervision, 2 research scholars have been successfully awarded PhD degree. He has published more than 45 papers in national and international journals and books. He has published 5 edited books and presented more than 30 papers in national and international conferences and seminars. His teaching, research, and consultations are related to organizational behavior, human resource management, participative management, industrial relations, total quality management, change management, leadership and team building, performance management, etc. I thank Dr. Suresh Reddy sir for giving me this opportunity to introduce Dr. Ravi Aluvala sir. And now I request Dr. Ravi Aluvala sir to address the audience in the meeting.
Very good morning to all. Respected Honorable Registrar of Mahatma Gandhi University, my dear learned colleagues. At the outset, I would like to congratulate the program convener and all the my team members, those who are taking care to conduct these type of programs in Mahatma Gandhi University. I am once again welcome to all for participating in this webinar. As per my concern, research is a journey which starts from unknown problems to known solution. Coming to present scenario, COVID-19 is giving very much impact on every sector in the world. You can't avoid any type of sector without affecting of COVID-19. To overcome all these problems, it is mandatory to know the research problems and how to get the solutions to get rid of the problems. I think it is the right time to take this topic and give the inputs to the serious researchers, those who are inside, and get the inputs how to overcome these difficulties by doing serious research about all these things. Today we have two eminent and experienced handful of resource persons with us, those who are going to be extend their support and delivering the lectures and giving inputs to all the participants, which are very, very useful for their future endeavors. I am requesting all the participants to take the telephone numbers of that resource persons and get in touch with them in future also. They are very cordial and supporters for all the research scholars, those who are serious in this matter. Once again, I wish you all the best, all the participants, and thanks to our registrar sir, who is extending his support unconditionally in any type of manner for our university. Thank you, one and all. I wish you all the best.
Thank you, Ravi sir, for your good words towards the national webinar. Now, I request Balasri Prasad to introduce Professor M. Yadagiri sir, Registrar of Mahatma Gandhi University, who is engaged continuously in the active research. Balasri Prasad sir.
Good morning, all honorable dignitaries and participants of the webinar. I am Balasri Prasad, research scholar under the supervision of Dr. Sarita Madam, Mahatma Gandhi University, Nalgonda. It's my honorable pleasure to introduce Professor M. Yadagiri, Registrar, Mahatma Gandhi University, Nalgonda. Professor M. Yadagiri Garu is the Registrar of Commerce and Dean, Faculty of Commerce and Business Management, Telangana University, Nizamabad. He has had a brilliant academic career. He holds MCom, MPhil, and PhD from Kakatiya University, Warangal, and MBA from Indira Gandhi National Open University, New Delhi, in the area of accounting and finance. He has put in 29 years of active teaching and research experience. He served as a head, Department of Commerce, committed controller of examinations, principal, University College, and director, Directorate of Academic Audit, Telangana University, Nizamabad. He also served as the registrar of Telangana University, Nizamabad. Under his supervision, 7 candidates have been awarded PhD degrees and 8 candidates are pursuing their research in commerce and business management. He has authored and co-authored 49 books on accounting and financial management, banking law and practice, quantitative techniques, and taxation, meant for undergraduate and postgraduate level. He has edited 8 books published by the Telugu Academy, Hyderabad. His research publications include around 73 research articles in reputed national and international journals. He attended 31 national and international seminars. He has organized several national and international seminars and workshops. He has prepared various radio lessons for undergraduate and postgraduate students and was broadcasted in All India Radio. His TV lessons on financial markets for the students of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar Open University, Hyderabad, telecasted in Doordarshan, Yadagiri and Saptagiri channels. He has completed the UGC major research project on the emerging dimensions of corporate capital formation in India. He has been invited as guest faculty by various colleges and universities for delivering an extension lectures on various topics of accounting and finance for the students of MCom and MBA. He also invited by various government agencies like DRDA, Women's Finance Corporation for delivering an extension lectures on entrepreneurship development, marketing management, and accounting for the trainees under various programs. He also invited as the resource person different preparation courses and orientation programs organized by various institutions and universities. He is a live member of All India Commerce Association, New Delhi, All India Accounting Association, New Delhi, and Indian Institute of Public Administration, New Delhi. Dr. Suresh Reddy sir, HOD, Mahatma Gandhi University, for giving me this opportunity. Thank you, sir. Now I request Professor M. Yadagiri sir to take the session, sir, to continue the session, to deliver speech to the audience. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Balasri Prasad Garu. At the outset, I congratulate the convener of this webinar and head department of business management, Mahatma Gandhi University. I also congratulate the principal, University College of Commerce and Business Management, and all the faculty members, research scholars in the Department of Commerce and Business Management. On behalf of the university, I wholeheartedly welcome the resource persons, Professor Jahangir Garu, Professor Chetan Srivastava Garu. I also welcome all the participants in this webinar. My dear friends, it is an appropriate time to organize this type of webinars on social science research. As you know, so research is a process of knowing the unknown information, which is essential for survival, updating the knowledge for growth and development, and modernization of the society. All of we know that there are two types of researches conducted by the academicians and scientists. One is the research in physical science, natural science, and biological science, where the research is conducted in the laboratory. That's why this type of research is known as a laboratory research. The another type of research is the social science research, where the research is conducting in the society. By involving the people, we have to conduct the research. So that's why it's called as a social science research or research in social science. Social science research is the activity of gathering, analyzing, and interpreting information for a variety of social, economic, education, and political purposes. So here it is a appropriate time where we are well experienced about the COVID-19 situation. So it is the a right topic to conduct the social science research. So in this occasion, I request all the faculty members and as well as the research scholars try to focus on the impact of the COVID-19. The impact may be on higher education, or it may be on economy of the country, or maybe health conditions of the country, or in a overall on society. Like that, here there is a lot of scope to conduct the research to know the impact of COVID-19. So that instead of going and searching the other topics to conduct the research, let us to focus on these areas. So it is very much useful to the society as well as the government to take the appropriate steps or say measures to overcome this bad situation in the country as well as in the world. I hope that this webinar will be so very much helpful to the so all the participants as well as the research scholars to enhance their knowledge base, particularly in research. So thank you. I wish you all the best. So thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for your good words towards the national seminar, and your words maybe helps the faculty increase their interest in doing the research, particularly in the social sciences. And they maybe take up more topics related to COVID-19 and its impact to the other particular areas in the management and commerce. Now, I request Prabhavati to introduce the speaker, Dr.Y Jahangir sir, to this national webinar.
Thank you, sir. Now it's my privilege to introduce the esteemed keynote speaker of today's webinar, Dr. Y. Jahangir Garu. Sir is working as Assistant Professor in the Department of Business Management. Sir has 24 years of PG teaching experience. He did his PhD in marketing under the supervision of Professor V. Shekhar Garu. To his credit, he published 32 research papers in various national and international journals. He conducted several workshops and seminars on various management concepts. He was Vice Principal for College of Commerce and Business Management for a period of 4 years. He was Vice Principal for College of Commerce and Business Management for a period of 4 years. Later, he was also worked as Additional Controller of Exams for a period of 2 years. He is also an executive editor for Journal of Business Management, published by Department of Business Management, Usmania University. He produced 8 PhDs and 6 MPhils, currently 8 students doing research under his supervision. He is currently Placement Officer in the Department of Business Management. And as a social and community service, he is also serving as a mentor for a program called MALUPU, which means Movement for Economic Empowerment of Marginalized. Finally, he is a continuous researcher and social scientist. I request Jahangir sir to address the participants of today's webinar.
Yeah, thank you for your kind words. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. And good morning, all the dignitaries who have gathered on the platform of webinar, national webinar on social science research. I respected and honorable Vice Chancellor, Mahatma Gandhi University, in charge Vice Chancellor, Arvind Kumar Garu, and Honorable Registrar, Professor Yadagiri Garu, and webinar convener, Dr.Jakka Suresh Reddy Garu, and Principal, College of Commerce and Management Studies, Mahatma Gandhi University, Sri Lakshmi Garu, and Academic Audit Cell Director, Dr. Aluvala Garu, and other colleagues in the Department of Management Studies, right from Dr. Venkatramana Reddy, Dr. Ramesh, Dr. Sabina, Dr. Sarita, Dr. Pravalika, and all the members, faculty members in the Department of Management Studies, Mahatma Gandhi University. I thank the webinar convener, Dr. Jakka Suresh Reddy, has given me a very honest responsibility to explain about management, about research methodology in social sciences. Our management studies also as a part of social science. We are not separate, but our studies are professional. Our studies are a bit different from the other social science subjects like political science and public administration and so on. So let me tell you, today I speak, I cannot explain you the entire tools or entire fundamentals, but certainly I give important tools, important fundamentals. Today's I let you the basically research behavior. I dwell on research behavior and fundamentals of research. All the research scholars and the people who have completed recently PhDs, I tell you, remove that, remove the myth that is from your minds. Remove a myth that is research or PhD, Doctor of Philosophy is not a compilation of work. No, it is construction of work. Remember, any such perceptions remove from your mind. PhD means giving life to abstract idea, abstract thought. You are giving life to abstract things. And for particularly PhD students, research scholars, your PhD work is, it is demands involvement. PhD guidance from your supervisor or respective supervisors, 10%, but 90% perspiration. You have to shed the sweat. You have to shed the sweat 90%. So 90% you have to work. Keep the following things in mind, all the research scholars, as well as the people who have completed recently their research work. How they completed, and they know pretty well, but remember these words, keep these words in mind. You must have research bent of mind. First quality you must have. First quality you must possess. Research bent of mind, determination for achievement, 100% involvement. If this deteriorates, your entire research work deteriorates. Today, we are now under pandemic situations, how things are changing, how our life, previous life changed, how the matters are changing, how the events are changing. All this we are experiencing. Keep this in mind, and why I am stressing upon 100% involvement and patience. You must have patience. If you do not have patience, you achieve nothing. And also another thing you must possess is you must be you must be consultative. You must consult people for your PhD work. And let me tell you today a few things, like we learn a good lesson for patience. In the name of patience, as I said, you must have patience. Thomas Alva Edison conducted hundreds of experiments. He failed, but still he was patient and he was very much involved, dedicated. Finally, he was successful. And many people have myth, many people have misconception about PhD. PhD means PhD work or the research work means we need more money. No, I say no. Here we have outstanding example from life sciences. We do not need thousands of dollars or rupees. We need cents of a handful of cents and pays enough. C.V. Raman proved in his C.V. Raman, a Nobel laureate, proved in his research. Just he spent less than 100 rupees in those days. But even today also, see, he was moving this corner and that corner for information. Today, we are not in such condition. PhD is not mere copying. It is a text building, text writing a text. You need to develop writing skill and simple writing skill. Those who have completed PhD, you can relearn. Those who have beginners can now learn appropriate research methodology. So I'll tell you what is research now. As we all know, and even Registrar Professor Yadagiri sir also mentioned, research is a voyage from known to unknown. Research begins with known and ends with unknown finding. And research is conducted for what purpose? What is the purpose? Very purpose of any research, whether it is fundamental research or the applied research. All social sciences come under applied research. All sciences, physical sciences like physical science, chemical science, and medical science, and such comes under fundamental science. The fundamental science research is different, and our social science is different. So any research, the basic aim, the prime motto of any research is to make the human life ease, comfort human life. Any research, let it be social science or let it be fundamental science or the physical science. Any research, the output of that research going to comfort us. And today, let me tell you precisely fundamentals of the research. Before that, let me define research is a voyage from known to unknown, and research in a systematic way. To define, it is a systematic investigation into a problem or the subject of inquiry. Research is a systematic investigation into a problem or subject of inquiry. Systematic investigation. This is where many researchers fail to understand what is this systematic. So systematic means chronology of events. Every research aimed at just discovering the facts. The facts are lying somewhere. Your job is to reach that destination systematically. To reach, there is a chronology. You need to follow that chronology of events. And now let me tell you the certain events, how we can capture chronologically. Selection of research subject, due inquiry of literature, estimate the magnitude of research subject, determine the research procedure, finalize the research output. These things you have to keep in mind, all the research scholars as well as even the research scholars who completed their PhDs recently, they can also focus on this. Selection of research subject, due inquiry of literature, estimate magnitude of research subject, and determine research procedure, finalize the research output. These 6 steps you must keep in your mind right before deciding your PhD work, right before launching your PhD work. We need to understand PhD is a philosophical work, not just writing a tale. It is a philosophical work. We have to grow up to that level. Philosophical work. Even story has its own objective. Some stories aimed at humor, some stories aimed at the entertainment, some stories, etc., etc. But the PhD is going to build life. Therefore, you should be very careful. Research should give reason, raise doubt, offer solution, or show a path for further research. No research, right? No research gives straight away solution. Particularly our social science management research as well as social science researchers do not give straight away solutions. They offer some solution that may fit to the occasion, that may not fit. We have to be very careful in doing this. If any research fails Yeah, there was phone ringing. So very fundamental is where can the student get doubt? Where can I get topic? What is the source of topic? And many are lagging behind this. To visualize your topic, research problem, first of all, you must have, right? You must have research bent of mind, or at least research concern. Then the research problems are the research topics automatically strikes on your top of your mind, particularly social science topics emanate from our neighborhood and in and around, ultimately from society. Technically we call universe. You need to have strong will, determination and dedication. Do not get panicked with these words. Strong will, determination, dedication are important ingredients for a researcher. If I dedicate, what about my rest of the life or family life, etc.? Thoughts may confuse or conflict with you. No, my dear, do not be panicked for those research topics. Today we are in the era of abundant information, flood of information. It's not right as difficult as olden days. Today, certainly you don't need to sacrifice your family life and brotherhood, entertainment, etc., etc. Just you can just with the minimal sacrifice of your time, minimal sacrifice of your resources and your energy, you can bring out a wonderful research work. What you need is will to do a quality research. Quality research does not come from sky. It does not fall from sky. It occurs with your dedication. Quality research means, it should satisfy the majority people. The outcome should convince majority people. Majority means always we take 60%. So 60%. It should, if your research output satisfies 60% of the target audience or target respondent, that's enough. A research methodology. Let me now coming to the crux of this today's webinar, the social science research methodologies. There is a big confusion. What methodology should I follow? Methodology includes these things. All of you research scholars write down. Research methodology includes research design, data collection methods, data processing techniques or tools, data presentation. This is presentation. Now let me tell you research design. As we all know, the research design, right, is the primary act of a researcher. First, you must know about it. What is this? The definition goes, research design is a plan or structure, model or blueprint of your research work or research problem or subject of inquiry. What is your research problem? And study the methodology of research problem, methods used for problem narration, methods used to test the relevance of research. What is my research? You may get doubt. What is my research problem? Where from it comes? For management science, for management students, research, we can get research problems or research topics from. The problem can be from business related, economy related, policy related, social issue related, social structure related, community, habitation, or it can be governance, or it can be language related, and it can be history or historical events. I hope I have covered management as well as social sciences. So topic can be from any of this. Once you choose this, any of this, then now your job is, suppose you have chosen the business related or management related. Now, few topics in management related goes lowering sales, employee absenteeism, employee satisfaction, customer satisfaction, influence of internal and external forces. These problems covered with its layers of organization. All these problems are covered with layers of organization. Now, as a researcher, you have to find, discover by uncovering these layers. Many facts in research means finding facts. Many facts are undercover. You have to uncover. Lowering sales is a fact. Today, many in this pandemic days, many businesses facing this. Their sales are low, often nil. Many companies facing this problem. Now you have to launch the research to study this lowering sales. It's collection of facts right from the, and also not only lowering sales, job loss also very prominent in this COVID pandemic days. Research is simple, it is goes through various designs. Now let me tell you types of research designs. As we have learned, research design is a plan or a structure or blueprint of your research work. So there are three types of research designs: exploratory, descriptive, and experimental. Exploratory research design, which we are knowingly or unknowingly using a lot, which means describing, right? It is exploring the facts, uncovering the facts. You are just exploring the facts. Some event occurred, and you are trying to know the causes for that event. That is exploratory research. Descriptive research, describing the variables that is causing that event. So many times an experimental research or experimental design, manipulation of variables. This is very oftenly happens in our management or social science. Very rarely happens. This experimental research very rarely happens because we need different skills, different setup, and we need a simulation room and simulation laboratory, etc., etc. Therefore, this very rarely happens. But in majority of our university researches, exploratory as well as descriptive researches goes in hand. Few people, if somebody wants to know about the which is already existing, they do that. Assume that your research topic is to find causes for lowering sales or causes are persisting. Your job is to find those causes and its sources. And exploratory research is just bringing the facts to light. Suppose your research is about a policy. This is for aiming at social science students. Suppose your research is about a policy. MG Narega is a policy designed act made by previous government in 2005. What do you do to this MG Narega as a researcher? Can you change anything in MG Narega Act? No. Can you add anything to that act? No. Can you extend what you can do, only you can study its performance. Assume that you wanted to study the performance. The performance means difference between intended benefit and actual benefit. So MG Narega scheme, intended benefit and actual benefit that yielded in during this its implementation. So it is exploratory study. You are just exploring what is already there with that. You are not doing anything. You are not adding anything. There is no scope to add. Or otherwise, the same MG Narega, if you study differently, that is MG Narega implemented in different states differently. Like MG Narega implementation in Rajasthan is different, in Punjab it is different, in Maharashtra it is different, and in our Telugu states, Telangana and Andhra Pradesh, it is different. Then there is a need for descriptive research design. This descriptive research design describes or builds the relation between variables that are causing for the fact. So now you can use the blend of exploratory and the descriptive research. There is then holistic picture of India you will get when you use this blend of exploratory and the descriptive design. You will get holistic picture of India. And experimental, very rarely it happens, as I already mentioned. And experimental studies, right? Study few can do, not all. Highly dedicated people can do by sacrificing their life. I hope you got the basic idea of research design. Now, due to time, I am pushed. So data collection method. Data means raw facts, as you all aware. They are available with institutions or individuals. So put together, technically we call it as a universe. The data collection methods, all the research scholars note: observation, interview method, and questionnaire method or indirect interview method. Observation, we know that the manual involved observation and indirect observation and mechanical observation. Interview method, direct interview, personal interview or telephonic interview. And questionnaire, this is where we need the support, and research scholars need some elaborated talk on this. I focus on this. Many surveys that appear in the newspaper or trade magazines or collected through observation method. Many, they talk about the changing lifestyle during the pandemic, during the COVID, such and such narrations in the newspaper or trade magazines. They have taken from observation method. Very few people uses that. Particularly this journalists use that observation method, and this is a quickest method also. An interview method, either you personally interview or telephonic interview. And coming to questionnaire method, which also we call it as indirect method of collecting data. Indirect method of collecting data. And here I am not going to tell you, because of this time frame, structure and its technical details, whether it is a structured questionnaire or unstructured questionnaire and such. But I certainly focus how questionnaire can be made. Questionnaire design needs certain, it demands certain qualities. This questionnaire helps you to decide your topic and objectives and such. And surely I show you path how you can make this, and focus on following things. right? So let me give you some example, 2 topics, how you can uh, decide on the strength of your topic, whether your topic is researchable or not. So employee involvement, one topic, a study on employee performance with reference to plant modernization. So I repeat, to make you understand how can we ourselves examine whether our select topic is researchable or not. Employee involvement, first topic, somebody taken it. And second topic taken by the Y researcher, a study on employee performance with reference to plant modernization. In first case, no purpose, no objective referred. In second case, purpose and context also referred. The purpose is employee performance. They want to examine employee performance under the light of plant modernization. So this is how you have to check the strength of your topic researchability. Topic researchability quintessential. Whether your topic is researchable or not. Check. I've given this example. If I'm given another 1 hour, definitely I would have given you very deliberate and vast, and with all examples, I would have given you a complete picture how you can select topic and how you can check the strength of your topic, researchability of your topic. After due scrutiny, your title, now the employee performance with reference to plant modernization is accepted. The first one is rejected. That is cannot be researched. Now, research is not just a mere collection of data. It is collection, analyzing, summarizing data in meaningful way. Now, let me tell you, data processing, it includes editing, coding, tabulation, and cross-tabulation, and validity and reliability. Editing, we know editing, many are doing now. Now we are doing editing, elimination of errors, elimination of inconsistency, and we can practically say filter data in the light of your research objectives. Editing is a process of filtering data in the light of your research objectives. Coding, separating the facts based on its strength. Tabulation, sum of each variable. Tabulation is sum of each variable. It is something like this. You want to know the behavior of smokers, non-smokers. So when you tabulate, you will get total of smokers and total of non-smokers. And cross-tabulation, building relation between variables. Cross-tabulation is an act of building relation between variables that contributing to your research, building your research work. Data processing involves checking validity and reliability. How do you do this? This is where, again, we lag behind. Data validity and reliability are assured when your data source is right. And when your data source is right, naturally, validity and reliability are assured. Now we are in Corona positive or negative era times. Now there are 2 tests conducted by our governments, both the governments. One is PCR test, other is the rapid antigen test. In one test we need blood, in another test we need swab. So now, according to WHO, the swab test is more reliable than the blood test. Therefore, what I am trying to tell you is the source of data is more important. That itself assures validity and reliability. So this validity and reliability we can check by using several statistical methods. Therefore, we need to be acquainted with statistical methods. All research scholars, whatever may be your background, whether you are arts or science or engineering, whatever may be your background, you must know the basic things of statistics. This is another requirement for a researcher. In my talk, I did not give you detailed technicalities, but I only stressed upon the quality of research, selection of research topic, correction, due scrutiny, rewrite, and research title check, researchability, and all. And it includes research design and data collection methods also I have shown you. Dear scholars, data collection in management and social science happens only with questionnaire. Data analysis means not using too many statistical tools. Again, I repeat, data analysis means not using too many statistical techniques. It may, the statistician also may not appreciate your job, but it is rather you are confusing yourself. Use right tools. Do not get panicked with nominal data and ordinal data. This is another the frightening item for research scholars, whether your data is nominal or ordinal. So nominal data serves in limited purpose, ordinal data serves in a broad purpose. So nominal data is when you are just gathering the facts without relating the facts to its contributing variables, it is nominal data. When you try to study the relationship and each variable and its strength, its influence on your fact, then it is ordinal data. So we have separate tools for nominal data and we have separate tools for ordinal data. I hope my next speaker definitely will dwell on that, the data tools. Try to remember and acquire the following, qualities. All the research scholars, as well as even the recently completed research scholars. Research bent of mind, literature survey, know the strength of methodology, research designs, questionnaire writing, conduct pilot study. This is very essential. Conduct pilot study. It must, without a pilot study, any research is without a backbone. Data processing, writing the facts, presenting the facts as it is, no exaggeration. One should learn basics of statistics like averages, means, modes, percentages, cyclical flow of data, such and such. Research presentation, methodology. Now, lastly, I'll give you a basic structure of your thesis, how your thesis is supposed to be, or how your organization of this is supposed to be. It is taken from a standard books. Normally chapters we call chapter scheme. Chapter 1, introduction, which includes objectives, hypothesis, need of the study. Chapter 2, literature review. Chapter 3, methodology. And chapter 4, data analysis. Chapter 5, findings, suggestions. Chapter 6, which we are leaving it. Majority of the researchers, they are not touching this 6th chapter, relevance of your study. And also relevance means whether your study is addition to existing theory or your study is useful to the business people or business situations, or your study is useful to solve social problems. That relevance, very few we are finding. We have seen so many theses and few future scope of the study, that must, and finally conclusion. Then normally appendix, bibliography or references. This is the basic structure of your thesis presentation. And let me finally conclude. You must learn certain basics which I have mentioned. So you must first develop the research attitude, then consult the experts, then consultation improves your horizons of knowledge and enhances the scope of your research. Consultation must, consultation with expert along with your guide, other experts you can meet, and also you need to develop. Certainly now the things have changed, all of you know it. Things have changed totally. Now we are in plagiarism rule. Every university, I hope your university also adapted that. So plagiarism 20%, less than 20%. So under this, your 100% involvement is required. Your 100% involvement is certainly needed. So therefore, I conclude by saying research is not just compilation, it is construction of life. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. I thank the convener, Dr. Suresh Reddy. I thank all the dignitaries of the Mahatma Gandhi University. And I thank all the research scholars and participants. Thank you, one and all.
Hello, thank you, Jahangir sir. Hello, is I am audible?
Yes, sir, you're audible, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Jahangir sir, for your a nice session about the fundamentals in social sciences research, where you are covered from topic selection to different types of social sciences research, exploratory research, descriptive research, etc. And also, and how to choose the topic and what are the basic requirements in selecting a research topic, and how you are going to collect the data and what are the data collection methods, and all these things you are covered very nicely. And sir, now I have some questions from the participants. May I, sir? Jahangir sir. Jahangir sir. Jahangir sir. Jahangir sir. Sir, Jahangir sir. Is sir is available for us? Let me check once.
Sir, mic is muted, sir.
Muted, huh?
No, sir. And video is also paused, sir. Video is also off, sir.
Okay. Yeah.
I think some network problem is there, sir.
Maybe. What is the problem? I don't know exactly.
Sir has come back, sir.
Yeah, Jahangir sir.
Sir, mic is muted, sir.
Again, it is muted.
Sir, video is on, but mic is muted, sir.
Jahangir sir, unmute చేసుకోండి sir.
Jahangir
it's okay, sir.
Right. Now you can pose question.
Sir, one question from the participants.
Yeah.
That they need clarification regarding, I know the number of responses required for PhD work.
I didn't, number of responses.
How many number of responses we required for PhD work? Means maybe he's asking about the number of sample size.
Understood. Got it. Yeah, my answer is very clear. The number of responses or the sample size depends on the topic you have chosen, the universe that you have selected. If your universe is infinite, there is a rule by the American Statistical Association that 10% of your that you have to take. If it is finite, if it is infinite, you have to take at least 1,000. That is the rule.
Okay. Sir,
Am I
another
clear?
question. Yeah.
Right.
Another question. And
yeah,
how can we do a quality of research without having a theoretical background? I think theory test is best, whether prove or disprove particular theory. What about your opinion?
That is what in the beginning of my talk itself I mentioned literature survey. That itself is you are going and touching the theory. I'll give one example. In
okay.
A movie called Genes.
Okay.
A movie called Genes. This will help the research scholar. A movie called Genes. Dr. Prashant, that hero, was a doctor. So that heroine, Aishwarya Rai grandma gets some problem. So he refers the textbook in library to solve that neuro problem. So best way is theory only. Theory is nothing but it is a recorded facts.
Okay.
Recorded experience.
Okay. And thank you, sir. One more question is last they are asking us, what is the basic difference between questionnaire and interview schedule? Can you give a detailed clarification?
Interview is conducted person to person. It is totally different activity. And questionnaire is you are impersonal. In questionnaire, there are two types. One is sending the schedules and sending the questionnaire. Sending the schedules where you are giving freedom to the respondent.
Yes.
In questionnaire, when you are carrying to the questionnaire to the respondent, you are little bit controlling the responses. That is the basic difference.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir.
I repeat, Suresh sir, I repeat once again.
Yeah, please.
Interview
please,
is
sir.
totally
Please.
different. Interview is totally different thing. And moreover, in our social science or management science, interview-based researches are very less. You know, I know every member on this platform knows. Personal interview-based researches are very less. Majority of researches are questionnaire-based. In questionnaire, two methods we can exercise, administer. One question in a form of schedules, another in a form of questionnaire. When you are sending the questionnaire in the form of schedule, there you are not controlling the respondent responses. When you are sending the questionnaire, carrying the questionnaire through your representative or directly by you, you are controlling the responses. That is the difference.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for your detailed explanation. 1 minute, sir. Hello.
Yeah.
Sir. Detailed explanation regarding the fundamentals in research, social sciences research especially, and also by clarifying the doubts in a very clear way. And thank you very much, sir, for gracing the webinar and delivering a very valuable session. Thank you once again, sir.
Thank you. I'm leaving.
Okay, sir. Now you can, sir. Thank you very much.
Sir, Chetan sir also joined, sir.
Yes, yes.
Srivastava sir has joined.
Now, yes, sir. Yes, sir. I know. Now, welcome to the Dr. Chetan Srivastava sir to this national webinar. Good afternoon, sir. Chetan sir, good afternoon. Chetan sir, good afternoon. This is Dr. Suresh Reddy from MG University. Mute lo unda sir, sarde.
సార్ కోహోస్ట్ ఇచ్చాను నేను, అన్మ్యూట్ చేసుకోలేదు ఇంకా.
అదే ఇచ్చారు, చూశాను సార్ చూడనట్టున్నాడు. ఓకే, లెట్ మీ వై బికాజ్ జస్ట్ నౌ హీ కేమ్ ఫ్రమ్ ద అనదర్ వెబినార్.
ఓకే ఓకే ఓకే, జస్ట్ కాల్ రిమైండర్
చేశాను.
ఓకే.
Once again I will make a call.
Okay, no problem.
That's any more thing to be discussed? The social sciences research is very vital during these days. Why? Because everybody is got impacted by COVID-19 in a very great way, and this. Hello, sir. Okay, sir. Okay. Okay, sir. Waiting for you only. Okay, okay, sir. Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, okay, sir. The COVID-19 gave good scope for the researchers to do research on different topics. Why? Because this is the time for the researchers to do their research in innovative way. Why? Because they can be used multiple data analytical techniques which are suitable to get the good results. For example, like COVID-19 impact on consumer behavior in different sectors, COVID-19 impact on marketers' attitude towards the changing advertisement strategies, and also COVID-19 impact on Indian economic sector, and COVID-19 impact on shopping behavior of the different kinds of people, different age group people, maybe university students, youth, old age people. We can focus our research on different areas also, like on transportation and retail sector and financial sector, insurance sector. How greatly this pandemic is shown its impact on social sciences sectors, and we can come up with various results, and we can be interpret, and that can be help us, the marketers and other people, to manage. 1 minute, sir. Co-host ఇచ్చారు సార్, మీకు రాలేదా? ఓకే ఓకే, ఒక్క నిమిషం సార్. సార్ అంజనేయులు సార్, సార్ అంజనేయులు సార్,
సార్ చెప్పండి.
చేతన్ శ్రీవాత్సవ్ సార్కి ఒకసారి కోహోస్ట్ ఇవ్వండి, అన్మ్యూట్ కావడానికి వీలు కావట్లేదట.
ఇచ్చాను సార్, సార్ డిస్ప్లేలో రావట్లేదు,
వస్తున్నాడు, అలా కావట్లేదు అంటున్నాడు.
సార్ కూడా నాకు డిస్ప్లేలో కనిపించట్లేదు.
అదే ఒక్కసారి మళ్ళీ కోహోస్ట్ ఇవ్వండి, అన్మ్యూట్ చేసి అన్మ్యూట్ ఇవ్వండి. మీరు చేయొచ్చా?
నేను చేశాను ఆల్రెడీ సార్కు. ఏదో సమ్ ఇప్పుడు నో ఇట్స్ వర్కింగ్ సార్.
ఓకే, వర్కింగ్ సార్.
Now it has come.
Okay, okay. Good afternoon, Chetan Srivastava sir. And now I welcome Dr. Chetan Srivastava sir to this national webinar. Sir, Dr. Chetan sir, is it okay sir now?
Yeah, it's fine now. It's fine. Absolutely fine. Yeah.
Okay sir. Thank you very much sir.
Welcome.
Now I request Mr. Rajender Gaud to introduce the keynote speaker of today's national webinar, Research Methodology for Social Sciences, to the participants of this webinar.
Thank you, sir. I, B. Rajendra Gaud, wish a very good afternoon to the esteemed professors and members present in the meeting. It is my pleasure to introduce Dr. Chetan Srivastava, sir, keynote speaker for today's session, to the audience. Dr. Chetan Srivastava is an associate professor in School of Management Studies, University of Hyderabad, a Government of India Central University, and is awaiting to be a professor since November 2016 under CAS. He is the youngest PhD holder in Faculty of Management, Usmania University. He has relinquished his role as Proctor of the University of Hyderabad. He is also a co-chair, Placement Guidance and Advisory Bureau, University of Hyderabad. He is also the coordinator, Postgraduate Diploma in Energy Management. He is the executive editor, Journal of Advances in Management Sciences and Information Systems, Canada. He is on editorial board for quite a few international and national journals like E-Business Review, Film and Quest, Business Vision, ICFI Journal of Soft Skills, Sumida Journal of Management, etc. He has reviewed the South Asian edition, the 13th one, of the famous book by Professor Philip Kotler, Father of Marketing, published by Pearson Publication, and also a book on supply chain management authored by Professor Janet Shah, IIM Bengaluru. He authored few best-selling books which are a part of standard curriculum for varied courses like MBA, MCA, BE, BTech, MSc, MCOM, BSc, BCom, BCA in varied universities across the country. He writes a column on business quiz for the monthly newsletter HMA at Home of Hyderabad Management Association, a premier body of management professionals since 1964. He is a recipient of many prestigious awards: MTC Global Outstanding Management Teacher Award 2019 by Management Teachers Consortium, AIMS ICFI Best Teacher Award by the Association of Indian Management Schools, Academy for Global Business Advancements, AGBA, USS Coveted American Honor 2019 AGBA Distinguished Global Scholar, Best Professor in Marketing by ICBM, SBE, and Academy of Management, Icon Dronacharya of the Year 2018 by International Knowledge and Opportunities Network, Distinguished Alumni by Badruka Group of Institutions, etc., to name a few. Dr. Chetan, a teacher by choice, trainer, researcher, and consultant, specializes in strategic marketing, customer relationship management, services marketing, advertising and branding, apart from HRD and systems related issues. He is a member of many academic advisory boards, BOS, subject expert panels, etc. Widely traveled world across, he has vast experience of over 2 decades in academics and industry in varied capacities in training, research, and consulting. He has, to his credits, about 40 plus papers and articles published in quite a few leading national and international journals. Dr. Chetan is one of much sought after speaker to be a keynote speaker, theme speaker, session chair, chief guest, guest of honor, invited speaker, panelist, key resource person, judge, etc. for international and national conferences, seminars, induction programs, annual day functions, award ceremonies, MDPs, FDPs, etc. by many universities, institutions, organizations across the nation and abroad, and also by varied TV channels for television talks, live debates on contemporary issues, etc. I thank the convener, Dr. J. Suresh Reddy sir, for giving me this opportunity. And now I request Dr. Chetan Srivastava sir to deliver his keynote in the meeting. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Rajender, and of mine. You have raised the expectations of all the people around here. Uh, I believe things are wonderful here, and it's a cozy morning, and whether it's too good, I hope we'll get into this. And there was a lot of things on data forecast about weather conditions by meteorological department, and they were trying to tell us that it's gonna rain, it's gonna rain heavily, it's gonna do it, so on and so forth. And those data research done by them, analysis for it, has helped a lot of people. And there were so many people who have actually been saved. Lives of people have been saved, and a lot of things have happened just because we are able to do a wonderful data analysis and help this society to actually work onto it to go. And let us look into this topic of today. Before I go in, let me thank the Mahatma Gandhi University, Dr. Ravi Aluvala specifically, and then you have Dr. Suresh Reddy, who is the coordinator of this program, and uh, Dr. Ramesh Miriala, and all others, faculty and scholars at this department. I know I have a love for your department and university because I was associated with your university right from the beginning. And uh, when your university started, I was on your board for designing syllabuses and all to go in, and working closely with your founder, vice chancellor too. So that way, when Dr. Ravi, I usually don't say no to Dr. Ravi to go. And so when he called me one day and I was in a meeting, and I said, please message me. He said, there's an thing you need to be a speaker. I said, done. That's the only thing. I didn't even ask him what is the topic. I didn't what is asking across, so on and so forth. Basically, because that's what it happens. And when Dr. Ravi says, I never say no to him. So while that particular thing is on, this topic later on, Dr. Suresh got in touch with me with all other details, on and so forth, and we moved in to go. So while you talk about data analysis in social science, let us move ahead and see next maybe an hour or so. We'll look into some things, and I'll talk about more of an applied kind of and things to go, and methods are there, packages are there. I'll give you how actually to do what are you doing and go across. So before I begin, let me thank all the COVID warriors who have been doing wonderful service, and today we are able to do something, or we are alive, or we are happy about it because of them. The doctors, the health staff, the sanitization workers, the police, the paramilitary forces, the forces, everybody who is working, really taking fight so in home jobs well. So while that particular thing was a big thank you to all the COVID warriors who have been doing wonders to on my talk. Let me have a disclaimer. Speaking here is basically as a part of my academic talk. And basically, it's pure academic purpose. It doesn't mean to hurt anyone, any sentiments, feelings, religion, caste, community. Because I'm basically trying to do give you something on academic inputs to go. And if at all I'm hurting somebody unintentionally or coincidentally to go, and I'm sorry for all that, and apologize for everyone to go in. So moving ahead, research. While we talk about research to go, somewhere something incredible is waiting to be known. Annotations. 1 second. Uh, 1 second. Where are these settings? So please give me a second. Somebody is doing annotations. I think we should. Rajinder, can you do that? I am trying to do it and operate from here. So make this annotations off so that these lines somebody is doing doesn't go in and move. So please do that. And I request the people who are online not to disturb the presentation with these annotations because that actually would make it very difficult for others to go across. I'm trying to do something here, and yeah, so let us move ahead, hope for the best to go on. So while you talk about it to go, somewhere something incredible is waiting to be known. Very beautifully talked about research, because that's what we are trying to do. And we have to understand that you know so while you are doing research, basically trying to talk about this thing to go and to do something able to move. And so Neil, go ahead. So research is creating new knowledge and beautifully there to go on. And we are working on something to go on where we talk about it. For us, what is important is I will not write about any place until I have been personally there. That's a beautiful research because you research something and then you talk about it and move on and so forth. So whatever I'm trying to talk about here is basically out of my research also, which actually goes and very beautifully said, all my knowledge comes from research. I usually do that, and most of us do it. We do small research. It need not be published research. It need not be anything to go on. Research for increasing your knowledge, and you take back your knowledge into the classrooms, into the lectures, into the things to go on. Because academics, okay, for an extent, yes. You know, this is a beautiful statement. I never guess Sir Arthur Conan Doyle spoke about it. Never guess. It's a capital mistake to theorize before one has the data. I mean, this is what I'm trying to talk about my talk today here. We not here before on the data. Insensibly, one begins to twist facts and theories instead of theories to suit facts. So, your data analysis and data is best place to move. The success depends on how success of a nothing basically depends on how was your research and what has been done. So there are a lot of success stories about products and the things to go and where they've done extensive research before launching a product or looking at how it is going, what is happening, so on and so forth. That goes in, that's an output of a research analysis done. Product or service decision, innovations, most of the innovations are research based to go. While this on and much more which actually goes in would be about things to go on now. This beautiful statement by Edward Deming, the quality person, who said, "In God we trust. All others must be data." So that's what the data and the importance of data and data analysis to wonderful to talk about how are you interpreting your data, how are you collecting your data, how are you doing it. Everything comes as a part of your thing to go. And so, except God, everybody should work with data. That's not usually works in the way it should work.
I think sir has disconnected.
Sir, no voice, sir.
Yeah.
Disconnect అయినట్టున్నారు.
Sir Chetan sir.
Disconnect అయినట్టున్నారు సార్.
Disconnect అయ్యారా?
To make a audio call, sir.
Call చేస్తాను.
Network problem ఉన్నట్టుంది.
Some problem is there.
Signal problem.
There's a network problem.
Okay, sir. Yeah, there is a network problem and he is doing. Hello, Anjal sir.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Arjun sir.
Okay, sir. No problem.
Yeah.
Sir,
సార్ దగ్గర నెట్వర్క్ ప్రాబ్లం ఉంది.
Sir, till then anyone can share their views, sir, tips or joins.
Yeah, they can.
Vishnu sir, there was a question in chat box from Venu.
Yes, sir.
There is a question in chat box from Venu Gopal. Can you address it by that time?
Yeah, what is it?
Autonomy has to be given in academic research, but practically the scholars work in worthy and also defended in pre-talk session. Also accepted many, but some chairpersons have objected to change the title or some points which didn't like it by the scholar. How to solve this issue?
Venugopal sir, is he completed his PhD or he is pursuing his PhD?
I don't know.
Maybe he is completed his PhD, I think. Completed.
Yeah.
Once Chetan sir comes into the line, please let me know.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, sir, the selection of the research topic is purely the jurisdiction of the student. And once the student is wish to choose the research topic, and then he can choose the university and the research guide where they are available to guide his topic. This is the actual phenomena. But nowadays, what happens? Getting the PhD seat is first primary, foremost important. Later on, we look after that topic and everything. So, first of all, the research scholar need to have a strong commitment to do on a particular topic only. Then definitely he can be select his guide who is working on that area only. So then these kind of questions will never arise. But admit చేశారా sir? Chetan sir ne?
Sir, yes, sir. Sir,
Hello.
Sir has come, sir.
Yeah, okay, please.
I'm sorry for the interruption. I think we had some problem here. My net was giving some trouble, so let us go back and do. And we're trying to talk about. I hope I'm audible now. I'm fine. Yeah. So yeah.
Yes, sir.
Very beautiful. It's a data, and I can't make bricks without clay. So when you talk about to go and data goes and very important kind of thing to go in, and which actually goes and data actually levels all arguments. So when you have all arguments to go and you have a data which is supporting your arguments, I think that would go on and do an across and do well. So your relevance as a data custodian basically is your ability to analyze and interpret, which actually goes and moves in and works across. So while you talk about it to go and your relevance as data custodian basically is the ability to analyze and interpret it. And if you can't do it, your replacement is due. That's a beautiful thing. So to go and so you are should be able to have a data with you and you are able to analyze it well and interpret what you have analyzed. That will make a huge difference in your person as a data scientist and data things to go. And if you can't do that, your replacement is due. That's what we are trying to talk about it to move in and go across. Now, Data is that puzzle which fits in and solves all your answers to go, and when you have collected things to go, and data should fall into the place. So while that particular thing is on, you are basically trying to talk about having this to go in and move across now. Uh, Albert Einstein beautifully said, "Not everything that can be counted counts, and not everything that counts can be counted." So while you talk about this, what happens when you have a data with you, so much of data to go in? So not everything which you can count actually counts into your data analysis to go in. So you might have abundant of data. You have a data warehouse. You today you have a data warehouse, and you have a data kind of thing. We are living in a data world. So not everything that counts can be counted. So remember one important beautiful thing: every data which you have doesn't count in your decision making. Sometimes and many a time you have to work on to things which actually go in and work across. So war is 90% information. This is a beautiful thing. Today we talk about business wars, we talk about everything to go, and even the Kargil war was more of an information also which actually goes in. So Napoleon, the French military leaders, spoke long back when we didn't talk about data analysis on so in a big way. So the war is 90% information and to go in. So while that particular thing is on, uh, you have the importance of data to go. You'll not be able to understand the performance of your company without good quality data to measure it. That's an important thing which actually goes in and works across and talks about things to go, and how data is important, talks about a thing to go. Now, while we are trying to talk about social science under this umbrella, umbrella, because we are trying to talk about rains to go, and umbrella plays a major role under a social science umbrella. A lot of things come in actually in your social science research to go in. You have geography, economics, you have linguistic, political science, anthropology, communication, sociology, so on and so forth, management, and everything to go in, which actually makes a huge difference to go. So while you talk about social science research, I'm hurrying a bit because we lost some time in your data internet connection. So while we talk about it, what is a social science research? It seeks to understand how and whys of human behaviors, which actually works and talks about it to go. Now, while we are working on toward the people's world, because when we are living in people's world, we need to understand that people world and the behavioral science in organizations. Because while you make decisions, this is goes a major important role, and it goes in and work across. So social science, usually people think that it's something which is not so important. Science is there, sciences are important, so on and so forth, and scientific research is given a lot of prerogative and so on and so forth. But when you actually look in science with a human face is most important to go, and so social science comes in there, where the social science research plays a vital role. The whole world actually depends on it, apart from scientific research. So well, you have scientific methods of experimentation. These can be applied to your social science research also, because these social science methods, scientific methods which can be applied to social science, actually take it a big way and make it one of the best kind of researches, and you can actually talk about having it to move in. So uh, the only possible interpretation of any research, whatever is there in social science, is some do and some don't do. So that's a basic thing to go. And so well, we are trying to talk about someone does it and someone doesn't do it, and that's the only thing which actually makes a huge difference. Bill Gates beautifully said, in any business, the idea of measuring what you are doing, picking the measurement that count. We started with that particular thing. Not everything which actually is counted is counting. So there's also comes here the measurement counts, like customer satisfaction, performance, whatever it might be. You actually thrive on that particular thing which actually moves and talks about it to go. Now, and the research is all about research starts here. When you get in the research, you would have had a morning session where research was spoken about. Then you talk about analysis, report, and finally it goes into it to go and work across. And please remember one most important thing I always tell people, that when you are doing a research, the most important factor in research is passion. That's what it goes on, because once you have a passion for research, you automatically do a wonderful research, wonderful job, analysis goes well. So you should start loving your research. I love research should actually would be the thing which actually goes in and work across, because many of us actually think that research is only to get a PhD degree and to have a publication, so on and so. It's not that. It's basically a passion, because research starts after you get a PhD. Actually, the whole world which actually moves in is post PhD with your research to go in and go across. So research as an value addition talks about to the knowledge, it talks about to the subject, to do the research projects, to take informed decisions, whatever you do, and it actually goes in and works across to move and to the overall body of knowledge, and basically to create success to move on. Now, while we are moving into the next part. So research, I just wanted to define this research because this will help us to in the course of my next talk to go. And so managers in organization constantly engage themselves in studying and analyzing. So here it is the important thing. Most of your managers need not be an organization. It could be managing in your home, managing in your any social circle and anything to go on. But specifically we are basically trying to talk about managers in organization constantly engage themselves in studying and analyzing issues, and hence are involved in some form of research activity as they make decisions in a workplace. That is very important aspect of it to go. And so some research has to happen when you are doing some decisions to go, and these decisions are key and take you forward. So Peter Drucker beautifully said, what gets measured gets managed. So while you're trying to talk about data, which you're measuring a data, collecting a data in any form to go, and once you're able to measure that data, put it into some form, you can manage things to go. And so that's one thing to go. And numbers have an important story to tell. And that's something which is actually a beautiful concept. Numbers have an important story to tell. They rely on you to give them a clear and convincing voice. So while you talk about the numbers are there, those numbers, how are you using these numbers to really make it wonderful is the most important aspect which actually goes on, because they tell you and talk about how do you present your data and do it as the numbers actually goes in and goes across. So social science research basically talks about social sciences, quantitative methods, and computer sciences today, which actually goes in as an three part kind of thing to go into. Traditional empirical research gets into quantitative methods and social sciences, and your data science skills talks about quantitative methods and computer science. But today when you talk about social science research, it's more of a data driven computational social science. It is amalgamation of all the three social sciences, quantitative methods, and computer science, which actually goes in and works across. So remember, data is the new oil, the analytics is the refinery, and the intelligence too is the gasoline which drives the growth to go. And so it's the data and the analytics which actually go in and move across to move. Now, the purpose of research basically, why do you do research? Something to go on. It could be basically to get a consumer insight, ideations, and understand how a culture shapes behavior, explore unshaped needs, so on and so forth. Something which actually goes in, or a product development, the shape, the features, the ingredients. A lot goes into it actually when you talk about things. Even for this Zoom meeting which is there, they have done a lot of research. What actually is important, how it goes in, so on and so forth, which actually works onto it and moves in. So that actually goes in and moves in, or it could be an advertisement, it could be things which actually go and walk onto it. And most important is it talks about avoiding the narcissist trap, because as consumers themselves, ourselves, we tend to be introspective on what we want and project our views. So biases actually goes off when you are doing a research which actually goes in and talks about it to go. Now, research also helps us to analysis, also helps us to have a second opinion. So when you talk about it, it's a beautiful thought which actually goes, and I really loved it when I saw this. So when I said I wanted to have a second opinion on a prognosis, it is exactly you want. So when you talk about data thing to go, and when you are re-looking at your data, it doesn't mean that you have a magic kind of thing which actually goes in and works across. You have a scientific and systematic way to do your research to go in and move across. So while you talk about the systematic data sciences and data kind of thing to go, and so we have seen this computers, maths, and domain knowledge. So remember, when you talk about research, domain knowledge is most important. It's just not statistics, statistical tools, so on and so forth. Because after it, I've seen that most of the researchers, most of the things actually focus on the data analysis, the data methodology, research methodology, so on. So it's more on statistical tools, techniques, and all. When the whole research is all about having an hypothesis and looking at some test which actually proves, disproves, accepts, rejects, and hypothesis to go in. It's not about that. It is not about your tools. It's not about your technology. It's about your domain knowledge. Because I have been always trying to raise my voice and say that we are data scientists. We are into domain knowledge. We are not statisticians. So we are looking at statistics as a tool, research, data analysis as a tool to enhance our domain knowledge and use your domain knowledge to go. And so the data science, which includes your business acumen, the business analytics, business intelligence, and you have to have today's machine learning. Today you talk about maths and statistics, everything comes into it. So that is a part of your research which actually moves in and works across. So for example, it's a beautiful thing, Tobacco Industry Research Center, which actually talks about a beautiful research which says excellent health statistics. Smokers are less likely to die of age-related illnesses. So we all know that smoking is injurious to health, and it's seen that most of the people who really are bad smokers, when I mean to say very tough smokers, would not see their old age to die of illnesses. So this is another form of data interpretation. So when you talk about it to go and you have your thing to go and uh, so all the questions what do you have, I'll answer them at the end of it. So please make a note, and we'll discuss the questions at the end of the session to go on. So when you talk about it to go, the way you interpret data also makes the thing the analysis. So if you actually look in it, talks about saying it. That the research actually could be interpreted in other way to go on. So let's solve this problem by using the big data. So which you talk about that to go on big data, which actually talks about today. None of us haven't decided what to do with it, and how it goes in, and so on and so forth. So while you talk about to go on. So if you are looking in a small research, I remember when I was teaching this particular research methodology for managers, I did give them, my students, a beautiful small exercise which they were supposed to go in around the campus and you know uh, do a small research which actually is on how did you take a new year resolution, because my session started on January 2nd. So I wanted them to do a small research. So what was your new year resolution, how do you do, and what is that, how did you spend your new year. That talks about understanding it to go. And so it's a research which actually goes in and works across to move. No, well, you talk about live data. Today we talk about live data, which has been a big thing to go on. So live data is something which is very dangerous, and how to handle it. So this is where we keep most of our dangerous live data. So while you talk about live data, it is terribly dangerous. So we are looking for an analyst who has an ability to handle it, because handling a live data is very difficult, very tough to go. And how do you analyze the live data which is there? Because the historical data is okay, because you have a data with you, you have some tool to go, and you have a technique to go on. But working with live data really becomes very difficult to go. It's a dangerous kind of thing which actually goes and moves across. So one research which talks about it is it's like the 21% of boys and 30% of girls support me, so therefore I'll get an vote of 51% vote. So that's not a true research to go in. So it talks about it to go how it actually matters, because when you talk about it, this is how you interpret. The interpretation is something which is wrong. The data analysis would make you come to wrong conclusions to go on. So 87% of the 56% who completed more than 23% of the survey thought it was a waste of time. So if you actually understand this kind of research to go on, the presentation of research and things to go actually creates a huge mindset to move. Now, statistically, you are statistically impossible. Please go away. So when you look in that, people are looking at any research as a statistical kind of thing. Data analysis would get into how can I apply statistic to go on. So if you are not able to have a research survey which is there, and it is not possible to interpret and work onto it statistically, it doesn't suit your needs to go on. So for example, I think I used to think correlation implied causation, and I think them statistics class. Now I don't. So sounds like classes have helped me. So when you talk about taking up and statistics sessions, that will help you to understand and move in. So this is what is happening today, where you talk about it, get all the information you can, and we will think of a use later for it. So go and so while you are trying to talk about it to move, so we are trying to talk about getting all the information right now, and doing a thing which actually goes in and moves across into the next path to move. So what do I need to do a research? Because how do I to get go to writing a research paper? So for more focused people are doing a research, basically to write a research paper and things to go, and which actually works and moves to go. So while you are into it, so this is what our research approach looks. And so if you are it's a beautiful anecdote about six blind men talking about a research on an elephant. They wanted to know what is an elephant kind of. If you analogy as an elephant would be something your data and things to go on. So from where you look in, what kind of aspect of data you look in, you have that kind of conclusions to go in. So if you are looking into it, one thinks it's a spear when you're looking for tuskers. When you look at the ear, somebody says it's a fan, somebody looks at trunk says it's a snake, so on and so forth. So when you go in, all of them equally looks right to go in, but when you are trying to talk about it to go on the whole, they are wrong, because in the perspective is different. You are not looking at a holistic form of the data to go in. When you are doing a data analysis, you are trying to look at a holistic form, and that particular thing actually works and moves in. So well, you are trying to talk about the data to move and data to go in. So while you are looking in, the data actually talks about it. So people are working on to it and moving with the concepts, and finally you got to uh, go through the market research required to launch a product, but we are retired now. So if your data analysis taking time. I meant to say this only to talk about how much time it takes kind of thing to go. And if your data analysis is not done on time, so it actually will loses its sanctity to go. And so while you are timely research, timely data analysis is important. I remember when I was doing my PhD, somehow after collecting the data, I could not, I had a draft report ready, but I couldn't correct it and try to do. And at that time, I know. There was an IT industry crash, and then finally when IT industry crash was there, my data I felt is redundant now because the data talks about a previous scenario which is no longer existing to go on. So I entirely redid the data collection because I felt that the data has to be relevant, because by the time you complete your data analysis, data loses its sanctity to go in and go. So be sure that you are not wasting your time on your data analysis. Do it faster and do in take to go across. So data analysis basically is all about the gathering, display, and summary of data, and the probability, loss of change, chance, and everything to go in. And you have a statistical interference to go, and so everything actually goes in and moves across on data analysis, and which actually works and moves into go in. So we picked up an option C by applying an technique. So the methodology we talks about any, mini, mini, mo kind of thing. It's a beautifully talked about. So as long as it wasn't based on your gut, it's okay. So most of the times you may apply all research tools, techniques, and everything to go. And when you talk about analysis, your final conclusion is all about your gut feeling, or you talk about sixth sense. We talk about your biases to go. And so whatever your data analysis is done, your interpretation depends on your gut feeling. If you are doing that, your data analysis doesn't make a sense to go. So the second part, but that's the most researched word on the keyword on search engine. So your data is not about this to go, and when you are trying to talk about the most used kind of thing to go. So if you are focusing on a key thing to go on and which works and moves. So this what is a beautiful thought which says, Jane, let's go and play research. So research is a game which actually goes. So what is a research? So this gentleman says, my papa said it's all about what they do in laboratories and makes lots of money. So when you talk about scientific research today, we talk about the COVID vaccine research. So a lot of research is being done world across, because somebody is if I'm the first to get into COVID vaccine, I mean, I would make a lot of money to go, and I get a lot of business to move. So that's what happens. So similarly, drug research, any research actually goes, and scientific research is all about making a lot of money to go on. Whereas when you talk about the social science research also, it's really wonderful, because that also gets you a lot of money to go on. So if you are trying to create research for yourself and the society, research is the way where you are supposed to go in and move across. So forget the brief. Which of these survey plans do you want? So you always have a market research agencies like a big fours and everything to go and who do some research for you, and you talk about the research, what kind of surveys you want, what plans you want, or what kind of thing which actually goes and go across. So I'm exhausted from all of the doing the basic research. That's what we are trying to talk about, because we are all really fed up and exhausted many a time with the research which is actually going. It's too bad that the value of my work won't be quantifiable for another 10 years. So when you are trying to talk about the data which is there for you, if you're not able to quantify your work, you're not able to do it, and then go in. So the most important thing is, you have to quantify your thing and research to move. So they still haven't completed the survey. So which actually talks about it's not about completing your survey and things to go in. So we are trying to talk about do they want us to remain uninformed? So that's also some one kind of research actually goes, and you have data with you, you really don't want to complete it and see that you are basically trying to talk about it to move. Now there's a beautiful thought. So there's two old persons are resting on a garden bench in the morning, and the person is wearing, I think, a world's best grandpa. So that's an award which is given to him to go on. So this gentleman discusses, I am not sure about what methodology they have used, because they are really thing to go. So when you're trying to talk about data analysis, you come with a conclusion, like for example, world's best grandpa. So what is that basis analysis? What is been there? What is the methodology you have used? So you're coming to a conclusion. So while you're trying to talk about data analysis and social sciences, your methodology plays a major role. What has been there and things to go on, because you actually have to understand when you conclude something, is it systematic, is it scientific, and is it reliable to go across. So we are just starting a plan to our evaluation. What methods should you consider? So what kind of methods we should consider for evaluating your data plans, research methods, and everything? So somebody says all of them. So that actually goes. So I usually, when I teach research, I always tell them that look at all the kind of possible techniques, tools which are there, which you can use them, so that you find out which is the best tool which can suit you or suit your data, which actually goes in and works across to move. I hope I'm not that fast. So which actually goes, and I can't tell you how valuable our program is the researcher says. But the evaluator says, yes, I can tell you what kind of thing it is there and move in. So while you are trying to talk about thing to go, which actually works and moves across to work onto it. So you know this is a beautiful research analysis. There are two people, one side a person looks at a boat and other person says that they're looking for a land. So if you are looking into this kind of thing, both of them are looking for something, and end of the day both of them actually do not make an basic kind of thing to go in. So each of us has to get into it to go in, and your perspective has to go from here. Your perspective is surviving on an island, surviving, and he looks at a boat and he's able to be happy that okay, I found a boat which can help me or save me. The person on the other side says that I found the land, because he's looking and lost in the seas and they're looking at it. So two perspectives and thing to go in, which actually works and moves in. So the way I feel is very hard to quantify. That's what is happening. So the feelings are very difficult to quantify. So the data scientist or analysis talks about how hard. That's very important. When you say hard feeling, it's very hard to quantify how hard. On a scale of 10, 1 to 10, where do you find your hard is there and what it is there to go on? But why there's so much of sudden demand which actually goes and moves across to go. So you've seen that entire research today. We talk about this demand has increased so much. What could be the reasons and so on and so forth. There's a beautiful analysis which actually goes in and moves across and works onto it. So this is pretty vital, which talks about the goal is to turn data into information. So this is what you're trying to talk about and looking into it, where you are kind of using your data analysis to convert a data into information and information into insight. That is what is most important. Entire data analysis is all about creating that insight into looking at things to go on, because you might have abundant of data. When you talk about census data, once in 10 years we do a lot of census data to go in. You have data, you have information, but that information until unless it is giving you an insight into what's happening, what is it going to do, and how are you going to use it, so on and so forth, which actually makes it a thing to go on and work across to go. So when you're trying to talk about your goal is to turn your data into information and information into insight. So while your data analytics and data analysis to focus on creating that you're converting the data into information and information into insight. If your data doesn't give you an insight into something, there's a problem with your analysis and things to go on. So that's what we started talking about. Einstein, who says that not everything that counts, but here we cannot solve all our problems with the same thinking. We used to think when we have created them. So you have to look into new things, new thoughts, new processes, new things to go on, because data analysis is all about solving your problems to go on and move. So it's a beautiful analytics lab. Today we talk about business analytics and so on and so forth, or data analysis to go on. So we have put together a great collection of business intelligence solutions. Now you have a lot of solutions available today. You talk about a lot of kind of softwares there who are there and so on and so forth. Now the issue here is we are unable to really find out what is the right problem. So the whole issue, we are working the reverse kind of thing to go. And you have a solution and you look at a problem. So it should have been other way around, where you have a right problem, identify the right problem, and come with a solution which actually talks about it to move in. So when you look into that, a beautiful look at the research to go in. Our infinite feedback loop department once again reinforce our forecast based on the data. So when you look into the optimism is still up and the pessimism is still down. So when you look into that kind of thing, there are two perspectives of our data to go in, and analysis and presentations to move. We'll see a bit of it at the kind of thing to go on. How's the big data project coming all the way? So you look into that, we are actually into the data kind of thing, a heap full of data, and to go. And because the problem here, it's not serious, but your data is enlarged. So today we talk about big data. Data itself has become big kind of thing to go. And you have a lot of definitions to go, but when you understand the literal word to go, and data has become so big and things to go, and the managing it has become very difficult, and analysis has a big thing to move in. So should we always ignore what is the data says, or is there more time thing to go on? So we have to really talk about what is actually happening, and thing to go on and work across. So while you are looking at the data to go on, what you should understand what data says. Should we have to ignore it for one time, or should it go on? But if you think that the statistics are boring, you got the wrong numbers. I think that's a beautiful thought, because when you are looking at the data, you're looking at data analysis, you're looking at something, it really becomes very interesting actually to go on, because working with data numbers may be a problem. I love mathematics and statistics, that's a different story. But when you are not really understanding or loving numbers, it's okay if you don't love numbers, fine. But your numbers should actually be so interesting that that help you to go into it and move. And so it's not boring. If it is boring, it is that you're not done your statistics or analysis well. Now, uh, it is a beautiful thing. You can't keep adjusting the data to prove that you do the best Valentine's date for somebody to Scarlett Johansson. So you're trying to talk about this. What is happening? You're adjusting your data, because you have come with an hypothesis. You have thought about it to go in. Your data analysis is all about adjusting your data to suit your needs to go in, to suit your conclusions to go in. So you can't keep adjusting your data to suit your needs to go in, or look at the other one. My data analysis has identified 3 perfect Valentine dates for me: Siri, Corona, Cortana, Corona, when it has become on our tip of tongue to go on. So Cortana and Alexa, so they are all software things to go on. So when you're trying to talk about it to go, the data analysis actually works in and goes across to move in and move. Yeah. So this is a beautiful thought. I was going to write an angry post on about Facebook's emotional manipulation study. There was a study which is posted, and this is, I'm really going to write angry about it. They're manipulating emotions. But then I got distracted by all the happy cat pictures they showed me. So this is what happens when your data is there. So when you have a data, and the data presentation actually makes a huge difference to go. And so you are very angry about the data to go, and you are trying to talk about it to move, and finally, you are trying to talk about making it wonderful to go. So when you talk about the other part, the sweetheart, my neutral net predicts that I and you are compatible, 98.9% compatible. When you talk about data analysis, when you do in a cross, will you be my Valentine? That's something which actually goes. And so when you are looking at the data analysis, could be anything which actually goes into social sciences, which actually moves in and works across. So don't worry, the expectations are the same as ever. Only thing is, this what happens. Expectations are same as ever, but only thing is they're completely different now. So while your data analysis moves in, so you have that particular expectations from your data analysis. I know when Rajinder was giving my introduction, I was feeling he is trying to raise up a lot of expectations. I think the expectations are same ever, and they're completely different, which actually goes in and moves. Thanks, Rajinder, for that. Now, so while you are trying to talk about it's a beautiful data scientist, we are really getting into it to go, and when we talk about it to go, so years of data mining. So that's what happens when you are into data, working with data analysis. Left me with a data lung. It's like a new kind of thing to go, and years of data mining has left me with a data lung. And don't be like your old man. Go into modeling, visualization. That's what we're trying to talk about with data. You have data visualization, data modeling. The whole world is getting into that to go in, and we are trying to talk about this to move and go across, because facts do not cease to exist because they are ignored. So while you are looking at your facts to go on, if you are blinded to the facts, if you are ignoring those facts, it doesn't mean that they don't cease to exist. Now, sheep's clothing is fine, but you need to think bigger. That's what we are trying to talk about it to go in. So you have to go beyond. So we are talking about that to go and think bigger, and things to go in and move across and work on it to go on. So the data analysis could be in terms of graphs, pictures, diagram, pie charts, percentages, whatever it might be, anything which actually goes and would be your data analysis tools which you're going to use and move. And so data that is loved tends to be survived. So you start doing that to go in, and you know while you're trying to talk about this to move, this particular thing, talks about data being loved and tension. I hope you all focus on this. The ability of to take another perspective. Please remember that the ability to take another perspective has become one of the keys to both sales and non-sales selling to go. And when you talk about it to move, so you are trying to talk about what actually goes in and works across, would be a part of it to go. So, and social sciences research on perspectives taking yields to some important lessons for us. So social sciences basically research focuses on varied perspectives. Well, you have a lot of perspective which actually goes, and they give a lot of lessons to all of us, and lessons to move in. So you have a lot of data analysis tools and methods and techniques which actually go and talk about building a narrative, sharing your load, and talk about collaborate with your needs, establish questions, how is the data, set your KPIs, and omit useless words, data, so on and so forth. While you talk about conduct in statistical analysis, integrate your technology, answer the questions, visualize the data, and so on and so forth. But without the big data analytics, companies are blind and deaf. It's like a thing which actually goes, and where you're trying to talk about the companies are blind and deaf for this to go, and where you are trying to talk about things. It's like wandering into the web like a deer on a freeway, because you're just wandering, you are not able to get actual conclusions to go in and move. Now, big data is the new thought and which it goes. And so if you are looking into the big data storage, analytics, it's pretty complex to go in and so on and so forth. It actually goes. The Twitter and Facebook can't predict an election. That's what it actually goes. And when you talk about looking what people feel, what people do, and though you have psephologists doing it and so on and so forth, but when you talk about but the bread what you're going to have for your lunch, it could be a sandwich, you're going to have a wrong sandwich. So we have trying to talk about it to go. And so that actually goes. And you're looking at research at an minutest or the basic level which actually goes in. So when you talk about characteristics of data analysis, the most important is programmatic, it's data driven, the attribute usage, and it's iterative, which actually goes. And one of the best kind of thing which actually goes in and works across. So when you look at data research, data analysis, you always have something on qualitative data and quantitative research. So there's been hue and cry about a lot of quantitatives here, because thank God to statisticians around. I have nothing against them. I mean, I love statisticians, and I scored 100% in my MBA for statistics to go in. So when you're trying to talk about it to go in, statistical, somehow the focus has moved on to statistics and data to go in. We're looking at statistical research, quantitative research, because we are looking at model data modeling, data scientists, and so on and so forth. The whole focus is moving from qualitative research to quantitative. But when you are looking at a social science research, it is more of a qualitative perspective than quantitative. So our qualitative getting into quantitative would make a huge difference to go in. So when you are looking at quantitative research, it's more about structured data, talks about statistical analysis, talks about objective conclusions, it talks about surveys, experiments, so on and so forth. But you're looking at the qualitative research, it's a lot of unstructured data when you talk about it to go in. For example, somebody is asked a question, do you love eating a gulab jamun? He says, yes. How much? No, that's a big thing. So the data, how much is quantifiable? It becomes very difficult. So on. So this much, and this much, it becomes very difficult to go on. So the summary is there, and you have subjective conclusions here. You have an objective conclusions here. There's a subjective conclusions to go on. So interviews, focus groups, observations, so on and so forth, which actually become a part of your qualitative research. Social sciences is more into the qualitative research, which actually goes and works across to move on. Now, while you talk about to go in here, we have a data visualization team. So that's what we are trying to talk about. Somebody is a pie chart specialist, somebody is a graphic specialist. You can look at their dress to go and we talks about it. Somebody is a scatter plotter designer. Scatter plot. Today we talk about it to go. And so you are looking at somebody who is into data visualization specialist kind of thing. Somebody who is only about pie chart thing, the micro, the super specialist kind of thing, which actually goes in and works across to move. Or we are looking at a new nice looking trend line analysis. Somebody who's in statistics would love this to go in. So you have a trend line analysis, fitting trend line here. So I'd like to thank all the entire team for contributing to the data. So the trend line by data, including the one who is an outlier. So when you talk about it, when somebody even who lies into the data and falls into the trend line, you believe that the data goes in and goes across. So according to all the big data we have gathered, our discussions about big data are up to gone up to 72% across. So when you're looking, and today the whole world is talking about big data, and big data. So while you are trying to talk about data on big data itself is something which actually goes in and moves. Now, qualitative data collection tools. I'm sure Dr. Jangir would have covered them in the morning, but just to touch upon them. So quantitative data could be a face-to online, you can have phone, mail, so on and so forth. Qualitative could be a lot of online forums, groups, web chat surveys, online communities, in-depth interviews, so on and so forth, which would give you a lot of data which actually goes in and helps you to move. So, qualitative data talks about data collection, which could be in the form of observations, interviews, document recordings, so on and so forth. Data reduction talks about when you have a lot of data, you have to get funnel the data across. So data reduction talks about selection, focusing, simplifying, and abstracting. Because when you talk about an abstract, that's what we do. And when you present a research, it could be a document, it could be a thesis, it could be a project work, it could be a paper, it could be anything where you have an abstract to go on. Abstract talks about the summary kind of thing, which actually goes in and moves. That actually works in and do across. So the data display, the matrices, the graph, the network, the charts, and so forth, and finally the conclusion drawing, where you're trying to give the meaning, confirming the verifying kind of thing. That's what happens in a qualitative data analysis, which actually goes on. Then you talk about quantitative kind of thing. You have quantitative types of data is there, the data collection, data analysis, a lot of tools are there, a lot of examples you given, and you have advantages to go on. So you have organizing the data, presenting the data, measuring the central tendency, variability, or you have descriptive statistics to go on. Then you have the data analyst who does the thing to go on. Where you talk about inferential statistics, you have talking about how do I have an data inspiration to go on and talk about to go. Now, while you talk about it to move on, so combining qualitative and quantitative methods are again a lot of broad appeal in the public health research. When you talk about, so we are trying to talk about combining both of them. That's very important. I mean, that's the only reason why I've used this thing there, because when you rather, how will they combine to be mutually supportive and the findings achieved through different methods should be integrated. So when you talk about in social science and behavioral research, you have to combine both. You can't say, qualitative data analysis is more good than quantitative is good. So you are combining both of them to make it the best kind of thing to go in as a matter of fact to move. Now, anything that is human is mentionable, and anything that is mentionable can be manageable. So when you talk about data to go and you have to mention the data, and it has to be manageable. When we can talk about our feelings, they become overwhelming, so less upsetting, less scary. So when you are thinking to go and you have a theory which is based on the data which is mentioned, and you have an hypothesis, you have an observation, then you have a confirmation which actually goes in and works onto it to move and goes across. Now, without data, you're just another person without an opinion. So, Deming, who is a quality guru, it talks about that. Without data, you're just another person with an opinion. But because when you have an opinion based with data, which goes in now today, you talk about a lot of data analysis tools which are there, which could be in the forms of SAS, it could be SPSS, which have been the most popular kind of thing. You have macro strategy, you have Spotfire, you have Microsoft Excel. It's one of the best data analysis tools. It's just not about your worksheet. It is more of an data analytics tool. So if you look into it and do and you have a lot of things to Tableau, Minitab, a lot of things. I mean, some list is there, but you have a lot of things which actually goes in and move across. So you have a quantitative, it talks about SAS data, and SPSS qualitative could be Maxpeda and Nivo, or visualization talks about MATLAB, Acris, so on and so forth. It could be a lot of tools available. You have today abundant tools which can help you to go and pick up a right tool and do it and move across. So data science skill set, which is very important for you, where it talks about it to go and substantive expertise. So that's very important, domain knowledge kind of thing. Then you talk about your mathematics and statistics knowledge. That's very important. It is working knowledge. If you don't need to remember the formulas. You don't need to remember all those things, and which actually goes in and moves in. Or you also have to understand hacking skills, where data security is important. So you have to have a machine learning today, so on and so forth. So when you have this, data sciences becomes the conglomerate of all the skills which actually goes in and moves. So your job of a data analyst is all about understanding business, understanding it from the Six Sigma Institute. So it talks about data understanding, data preparation. You talk about predictive modeling, model evaluation, model deployment. So entire work is done by a data analyst or things to go. And where you talk about writing, understanding your data, do data preparing, then predictive modeling, then you talk about evaluation, then deployment, and finally you understand your business model, which actually goes in and to one. So this is a beautiful analysis. I went through the data. So a child is talking to the parents. I went through the data, and the data found an increase of 11.7% in discretionary spending portion of our family budget. So I don't see a reason not to raise my allowance. So it's a pocket money. He's asking a raise in pocket money. So he says, I have done a lot of data analysis on what you are spending as a family. So you are spending 12% more. So possibly you also have to have that kind of thing. So when you're trying to talk about use of data, it would be as simple as that to move in and go. So chief statistician says, please remember this, I can prove or disprove it. What do you want me to do? That's what people are trying to talk about data to go. And you have data with you. How do you want it to be presented? You can window dress a data, you can present in the form you want. A balance sheet is the financial thing is presented as one way to the shareholders, one thing to income tax, one thing to sales tax. So when you talk about it, the way you want to your thing to go and goes in, the statistics gives you that flexibility, so that you can always talk about what do you want to do and what actually goes in and moves across. So have ideas. keep find information and keep it up to date. That actually goes and collaborate with a lot of people to go. And research is all about collaboration. Do that particular thing, conduct your research, organize and manage, and decimate and engage. That's what actually goes. And decimate what your findings and knowledge to go and evaluate, and the cycle goes on and goes on and goes on. Data analysis tools, a lot of things as you talk about SQL. R has been really popular today, and which actually goes in and move across. So while you are trying to talk about it to go and so you have MATLAB, you can use Python, you can talk about things to go. And a lot of people are trying to talk about Cloudera, Tableau, Teradata, RPro, Spark, and Talent, Microsoft Insight, Skytree. You have a lot of things to go on. Or you talk about Google search operators, you have your QuickView, Solvers, Wolfram, Alpha, so on and so forth. You have a lot of tools which are available. So pick up a tool which is accessible to you, easy to you, so on and so forth. Some of them are open softwares and like R and all. You can always use them easily without any problem to go and move on. you know I'm little surprised. That's what happens in your predictive analytics, which actually goes. And I'm little so with such an extensive experience in predictive analysis. This gentleman had come for joining as a data analyst or scientist at a organization. So I'm really surprised. I with such an expensive thing to go, and you should have known that we wouldn't hire you. So you are not able to predict your own thing to go, and it becomes difficult. So if you are good at predictive analysis, you should be able to predict a lot of things which actually go and move, which actually works in and goes across. you know so while you talk about to go and as the data shows us in the chart that sales have exceeded the expectation. So if you are looking at this is the sales data, so it has gone up and to go, and they have exceeded your expectations to go in. But there's a graph which is related, which talks about your expectations are all-time low. So while you look into data, when you're interpreting the data, it goes well. See, one say if I look at sales and say the sales are really expected to go in, but if we are not looking in light of your expectations, which have come down, even though the sales have come down because their expectations also are come down. So the data analysis has to go and relate with two of them. So I feel that showing my family data reveals me more than mere photograph can convey. So a data analyst talks about a lot of data about his family, about things to go in, rather than only a photograph to go in and move and work in. So the survivor toolkit. We are coming to almost ending of my session. Just shortly, we'll next few minutes we'll go to do. And so survival, the toolkit is all about. Remember one thing: however difficult the life seems to be, there's always something you can do and succeed at. That's what your research says. And so when you, however difficult data is there with you, how complex data is there with you, and whatever it might be, there's always a tool which goes in the way you look into data to go. And there's something which you can do with that data, and you can succeed at to go. And so don't worry if you have a complex data, when you have a problem to go in and we are going to solve it across, you can always do something, apply some tool and come with a conclusive research to go. Stay safe, stay home. That's more important. So remember that tough times don't last, but tough people do. So while you talk about it to go and remember, these times are gonna go faster, and you're going to have this to move. Now, please remember, this is actually, uh, we'll talk about thing to go and be at home, be safe, and remember that there are people who are working for us. You follow all those things to go on distancing. It is really spreading. Like, and we have crossed almost 25 lakhs. We are reached, and it's not a good thing to go on and move, which actually works. And so please remember, then get a new mindset. Please remember, this is the mindset which is very important for us. It's not about productivity, it's not about research, it's not about data analysis, it's not about anything to go on. It's all about how do we come out of the situation with a healthy company, healthy country, and a healthy individual. So please do that and be healthy, both psychologically and physically. That's more important to go. So become an Atmanirbhar, become self-dependent, get into data analysis. You obviously become own kind of thing to go in and walk in. So make the best out of it, and be self-reliant. Don't depend on anything to go on, which actually works and go. So because we are working on to Atmanirbhar Bharat, that's very important. We are going for self-reliant India and self-reliant to go on. Please do not use a non-conclusive means to go on. And no, somebody says I have become very self-dependent, I'm printing my own currency notes. Please don't do that. And that's not a way which actually goes in and works across. So be positively doing it, which actually works. And so build the future. So data analysis, data scientists, and everything which actually goes and is all about which actually goes in and works across. And Mohan, so possibly somebody wanted to see the previous slide. This one, yeah. So while you talk about to go and be Atmanirbhar, that's very important, and which actually goes and work. So build the future. End of the day, we are trying to talk about you know all you need is hope and strength. So let us hope that we'll things get better and hold on the strength until it does better to go. And so hope, data is all about hope. Data gives you hope, data gives you thing, analysis gives you that hope that the companies will come back, the consumers will do, and your industry will spring up, the all stock markets will go, and everything goes up. It all depends on hope. I hope that there are days when you fall in love with you being alive. That's what it goes. And so Jai Hind, Vande Mataram, and Mera Bharat Mahan. So I'm proud to be an Indian. I am sure all of us are proud to be Indian. Remember Satyameva Jayate, and that's what happens and go. And so Jai Hind, Jai Bharat. So any questions? I'm open for questions. So please ask me questions. And I'm trying to see in a lot of questions. I'll try to answer some of them, but you can ask me questions. Let us put on unmute mode to them. You unmute yourself and ask questions. And if you're not able to ask me questions, if you're not able to answer you any question right now because of paucity of time or something, you can always mail me the questions, so that let us keep the conversation going. It doesn't stop here. It doesn't stop at the FDP to go and your webinar to go. And you can always write back to me. You tend to get an answer. Maybe not immediately sometimes, but you surely get an answer to go in for any question you have. So thank you, everybody. Please note down my email. You can always write back to me. You can send your feedback. You can send your requests. You can send your questions, whatever you want to do, and I'm available. So possibly I'm not going to charge you also. So that goes in. So have a wonderful time. So it was pleasure interacting with you all. I tried my best to do whatever best I can do. I'm an apology for the technology thing to go in. It had sometime happen. I have three connections now, but still that doesn't go and work across. So wonderful. Uh, Let us have some questions and thing to go. And so that works. So please write your
Yeah,
going. Thank
yeah,
you.
yeah. Good afternoon, Dr. Chetan Srivastava garu.
Yeah, good afternoon.
I'm Balasri Prasad, the research scholar of Mahatma Gandhi University, sir.
Yeah, President.
I just want to brief all these points in just 2 or 3 minutes, sir.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Dr. Srivastava, sir, you have given very valuable insights on data analysis, sir. And you have said that social sciences research seeks to know hows and whys of the people. And you have thrown a light on purpose of research, data science, live data, and very useful and insightful statistical data is also provided, sir. And different perspectives of research were discussed. And very importantly, data can be converted into information, and information can be converted into insight, and that insights were very useful for the company's success. And you have started with very beautiful quotation, sir. I want to repeat that one, sir. Research is creating new knowledge, which is given by Neil Armstrong. Very interesting, sir. And not everything that can be counted counts, and not everything that counts can be counted, by Albert Einstein. Very interesting quotation, sir. So many quotations are given, sir. I've taken two, sir. And you have given very insightful information and new information to the budding researchers. You have discussed about business intelligence solutions, and you discussed about emotional manipulation study, and data visualization tools are discussed, and qualitative and quantitative data is also discussed, sir. And you also analyze the job of job analyst. That is also very important. Practical, you have taken very practical examples. And there is very interesting concept here. A statistician can prove or disprove something with the data available. That's very interesting, sir. And you have given very good suggestion for the researchers, young researchers, about collaborative research, which is very, very useful nowadays, sir. And you also discussed different analytical tools like SAS, R programming, MATLAB, Python. You've given so many examples, and thank you very much for the information, sir. And I would like to thank on behalf of Mahatma Gandhi University, sir. Very insightful, valuable, and information is given for us all participant. Thank you very much, sir. And I have got some questions, sir. I've taken some questions from the
Sure,
chat box.
please.
One question is asked by Mamata ma'am. Is there any standard in code number of action research data analysis?
Can you get back to
Is there any standard in code number of action research data analysis? Question is asked by Mamata ma'am.
Can I see the question? Is it in chat?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It is in the chat
Can you
box.
unmute Mamta madam? I like to know what is that she's looking for. I'm not able to understand the question.
Okay.
Mamta madam, are you online? Can you ask the question? Hello?
I will do it, sir. I will
Action
do it, sir.
research basically talks about a research which actually goes in and work. So possibly I'll send her the link which actually goes in and talks about how action research can help her to do some data work onto it and go in. So possibly because I'm not able to understand this particular thing. So please write me the question properly. I think I would be able to answer. Ask her to email me to the question. Yeah.
Sir, I have allowed her to unmute, sir.
Yeah.
Mamta madam, you can
please
ask the question.
Hello. Mamta madam, are you on?
Ma'am, you can unmute and ask the question. Now she is unmuted, sir. Ask,
madam,
ma'am.
please ask the question. Hello.
Mamta ma'am, can you ask the question?
Or if you, Mamta madam, or you can ask, send it on my email also. I can write back to you the answer with some links to go in. Yeah.
Okay. I have one more question with sir. Dr. Arjun Kumar from Palamuru University is a placement officer in the university. He's asking if I want to do research in this COVID-19, which aspect would be appropriate for management faculty? Please suggest how to go with and how I can suggest the students on this.
See, basically, COVID-19 has brought in a lot of insights and a lot of inputs to go in. You can do a lot of management research, a lot of consumer research, a lot of psychological research. It could be your feeling itself as in research to go in, or your change perspective, the change look at life, change look at your consumption, change look at certain things to go in. So it could be anything which actually it's a change consumer behavior, it's a change consumption patterns. It could be change the mindsets of the people. It could be now how are you reliving the life that actually goes in. So it could be any kind of thing, or financials, how are your financial perspectives have changed. So what actually goes in, where do you want to invest today, your investment decisions have changed. So many things have changed actually, the way you look at life. So anywhere you can actually get a research to go in. It could be consumer based research, it could be philosophical research, it could be social science research, the perspective of research to go in, or it could be based on your research for your the finances and everything to go in, your perspectives, your priorities. So you can talk about anything which actually goes in. So you ask your students to do any research, would be as good a feeling of well-being. That itself is more than sufficient. Or the issues and problems in your COVID, which could be there, and a big research to go in, or what could be the solutions which are available for helping people, or what could be the future of something post-COVID, or how do you prepare yourself to find the COVID thing to go in and future to go. So possibly that could also be there. Yeah, hope that's clear.
Yes, sir. There is one more question from Dr. M. Balasubramani.
Yeah.
Which one is the best tools for primary and secondary data? Kindly give some examples. And there is one more question, sir. How simply data can bring to the research? I think the meaning of this may be how data can be collected simply for research, sir.
See, one thing about the tool. So the question on tool, when you talk about tool, it depends upon what is that you want to do and what is that research purpose to go on. So what happens is when you talk about Mr. Balasubramanian, this is a question answer for you. So what talks about it is the tool, choice of the tool depends on what is that you're looking in, what kind of analysis you want, what is that you're coming to go to a conclusion. So it depends on that to go in when you're trying to talk about primary data analysis, or it could be a secondary data analysis also. The tool basically depends on your final requirements, your objectives, your objectives of research, and the type of data you have. So there's no really prescriptive tool kind of thing. So if you come with what is that you've collected, or what is that you're planning to collect, what are your objectives, and that would help you to identify what tool would be a better suited for this kind of thing. If you have a data which is more often qualitative, what kind of tool you should use. If you have a data which is more often quantitative, what kind of tool you should use. So anything basically talks about is depends on what kind of data you're working with, what is that you're looking in, what are your objectives of research, and what is that you actually go across. So when we talk about independent and dependent variable, it talks about something to go and no. Independent variable is something which is a self kind of thing, or it doesn't depend on anything to go on. And a dependent is which actually has something to do. For example, when you talk about the weather, when you talk about weather to go on, weather depends on a lot of factors. It could be humidity, it could be the sunshine, it could be rain, it could be thing to go on. So these all the weather becomes a dependent variable, whereas this other things becomes independent variable. Or when you talk about a consumer behavior to go on, so your consumer behavior is dependent on a lot of factors. It could be your income, it could be your demographic feature factors to go on. So any of them becomes a dependent kind of variable, where independent could be something, it could be a government thing to go on, it could be an product apply to go on. So when you talk about it to go on, you can identify some variable which has a power to influence something else. That becomes the independent variable. So many a times there could be a dependent variable itself could be an independent variable based on what kind of data, relation you're looking into, and what is the perspective of it to go on.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
There was one more question.
There are two more questions from Dr. J. Venugopal, sir.
Yeah.
I think there is some practical personal situation has happened with his scholar. I think if the Dr. J. Venugopal is live, you can have questions. You have two questions, sir.
Yeah.
Dr. J. Venugopal.
Venugopal garu. Yeah. Hello. Mr. Venugopal garu, your question?
You can unmute, sir.
Unmute, please unmute yourself. Yeah.
Venugopal garu, unmute చేసుకోండి, sir. Venugopal garu, unmute చేసుకొని question అడగండి, sir.
Hello.
Now you can ask.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah. Good morning, Andy. Venugopal garu.
This was happened.
Hello. Yeah, please tell me. Cheppandi.
In pre-talk conversation, they explained to me. That was I posted, sir.
Sir, you are not audible. Can you tell it back?
Okay, sir.
Venugopal garu.
Chapter, sir. Recently, one scholar has approached me and explained his pre-talk session conversation, sir. His PhD thesis in final stages, sir, and everything is okay. Approved by guide also, but in final pre-talk, the external persons has visited the session, sir. Topic is very worthy and guide also approved, sir. But during the conversation in the meeting, some chairpersons has objected to change the title, this thing. So the guy has explained and defended very brilliantly. That is actually it is a considerable worth. It is around one topic is related to public society. So most of the members also approved, but the chairperson has raised some objections. That was the guy, the research scholar felt very disappointment, and finally, of course, it was approved. But due to some changes advised by the chairperson, he didn't like, sir. Because his argument was the researcher has to be given certain autonomy, which has to be also approved by guide also. But the chairperson, who is not aware completely about the topic of visited the session at the moment and is not able to understand properly and creating problems to him. That's what he was explained to me. How to this type of problems has to be solved, sir. Hello.
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 Hello. Hello. Cheppandi. Venugopal garu. Vinipadathandi. Cheppandi. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Cheppandi, sir.
Vinipadathanda, sir?
It's audible. You can continue.
Continue. Cheppandi, sir. చెప్పండి చెప్పండి
వినబడుతుంది.
అది సార్ రీసెర్చ్ స్కాలర్ ఒక అతను ప్రీటెక్ లో జరిగిన అనుభవం నాకు చెప్పాడు సార్. అదేంటంటే ప్రీటెక్ లో చైర్పర్సన్ కమిటీ ఉంటారు కదా సార్, ఆ చైర్పర్సన్ ఒక ఆయన actually the thesis everything approved by guide also. Finally they have organized pre-talk session. Pre-talk session. External the session. It consists of around 10 to 15 members. Almost all members are satisfied, including guide. But the chairperson wanted to change the topic and change the title or some points he has raised, sir. But this thing the research scholar did not agreed. Guide also approved everything final.
But how can somebody ask for change of title?
That research scholar explained to me, and he felt very disappointment for that situation, sir. And what is the position? It almost in final stages, sir, about to submission of thesis. Guide also approved, sir, for this thing. After that one only, they have conducted the session, sir, pre-talk session. So other committee members also approved, sir. But only chairperson, who is a professor from other university, he did not know the topic of the thesis entirely. Just is asking some questions here and there. For this thing, this research scholar is defined it very fluently, and all the members also satisfied. But that guy, the professor has asked him to change the title and certain other questions, sir, other certain points. Then what is the position of the research scholar, sir? My point is, autonomy has to be given to research scholar. Hello?
Yeah, I'm able to hear you.
Research scholar, once it is in final stages, approved by guide and other members also, there should not be raised any this type of issues, sir. Then what is the position of the scholar, sir? That scholar has
any given
to be and explain everything, sir.
Yeah. Venugopal garu, let me tell you, as a basic principle to go చెప్పండి. ఎవరైనా కానీ ఇలా ఉందంటే బేసికల్లీ whole process is all about giving autonomy to the research scholar under the direction of the guide. So nobody else has an respect think into it to where you say you determine things and you say this is wrong, this is right, and kind of thing. So possibly guide should take a call onto it and talk to the dean and sort it out the issue. So that's very important, because until you give a independent kind of thing to the scholar, what kind of research to go in? You can't have a research which is basically non-focused kind of thing. Let the scholar decide what is that he's going to do and what is that is research all about. So when you are trying to talk about to go in, let the scholar be basically trying to talk about what kind of research is there for you. So basically, which actually works in the guide should take a call onto it. The guide should take a call onto it, and finally, hello.
Chappan, sir, Chappan, please.
Yeah, the guide should take a call onto it, and guide should decide that this is what it is. Talk with the dean and talk with the kind of thing, and say that this is what is the basic thing, and the scholar would do it. At the most, in case you are going to send the thesis, if you get an comments from the examiners on something, that's fine. But at this particular moment, when it is a final stage, you can't ask to change the title of it. And to go in. So when you're trying to talk about this to go in, basically what happens here is the student will really get a problem. Your research will never get completed, and finally some sort of thing would happen and some nonsense report comes in. So that particular thing which actually moves in and talks about it is give the scholar the advantage and let him present his work, and let him submit the thesis. In case he gets some comment from the other party to go, and I think then the things would change. So basically let him be feel free. So that goes on.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Welcome, Andy.
Sir, ఇంకో క్వశ్చన్ ఏంటంటే స్కాపస్ అన్పేడ్ జర్నల్స్ లో ఇట్ ఈస్ వెరీ టైం కన్జ్యూమింగ్ ప్రాసెస్, సార్. అది జస్ట్ ఈవెన్ ఆఫ్టర్ 6 months or 1 year, only very few minor changes are there, sir. In case of articles likely to be published, చాలా టైం కన్జ్యూమింగ్ ప్రాసెస్ అవుతుంది. To what extent it is justified to have a consideration of scopus paid unpaid journals are worthy and unpaid other journals are not worthy? How can we justify, sir, that thing?
Oh, that's a big debate, sir. I have been fighting across with this, and I've written to a lot of agencies where we talk about the scopers, non-scopers, ABDs. There's a huge game which is happening. It's basically something which is academic mafia at place. I'm sorry to use that word, but that's what is happening. And there's nothing. Or even scopers today, they charge you some money and you get it. And there are a lot of journals which do, in spite of being scopers, long standing, so on and so forth. Some form of the other, it could be a publication money, it could be a thing to go and they say this goes in. So I've seen some papers which are absolutely nonsense in scopus journals and also in other reputed kind of journals to go in. So it is not about this, but somehow there's a perspective just come into people. It's all basically because there's a huge mastermind at work which actually talks about being a thing to go. There's a problem with predatory journal. There are some people who are misusing this. That's a thing. So see, 5% of people come, 1% to 2% people commit frauds, and that is cast on everybody else to go in. Few journals have done really bad, so for that reason, this kind of quality misses have come. But that's not an indicator. A scopus is not an indicator. I should frankly speak about it. Or your citations to go in. When there was one paper in Sciences and Chemistry, I still remember, which has millions of citations, and finally it was withdrawn because the people felt it's unethical and wrong paper to go in. So it's not about it to go in. Venugopal Garu, I have mentioned my phone number in chat. You can, if you have some specific questions, you can always call me up sometimes, and if I'm free, I'll pick up your call or I'll call you back. Yeah. Let us move on to something. Thank you, Andy.
Thank you, Dr.
Dr.
Chetan
Suresh,
Srivastava
can
garu.
we conclude? Welcome.
Thank you, sir. I request our HOD sir, convener of the program, Suresh sir, to give the vote of thanks to the program, sir.
Hello, thank you, Balasri Prasad.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Thank you, Balasri Prasad.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, it's time for the vote, say the vote of thanks. Now it's my pleasure to say thanks to our Honorable In Charge Vice Chancellor, Sri Arvind Kumar Garu, and our Honorable Registrar Sir, Professor M. Yadagiri Sir, for permitting us to conduct this kind of national webinars to encourage the research knowledge in the university. And I also thanks our principal madam, Dr. Sri Lakshmi Garu, who is the chairperson of this webinar, for sparing her valuable time and gracing the webinar by giving a valuable message. And also thanks to Dr. Aluvala sir, who is the Director Academic Audits at Mahatma Gandhi University and Chairman Board of Studies in Management, for his unconditional support in organizing this webinar. And I also thanks specially to the speakers, Dr. Y. Jahangir sir from Usmania University and Dr. Chetan Srivastava sir from University of Hyderabad for delivering excellent, valuable, knowledgeable sessions, for sharing a valuable research knowledge, which is fulfilled the intention of organizing this national webinar to enlighten the research knowledge for the budding researchers and the PhD scholars and the faculty who are actively engaged in the research. And I also thanks to my colleagues who supported and joined in this webinar, Dr. Sweta, Dr. Ramesh Kumar, Dr. Venkatramana Reddy, Mr. John Paul, Dr. A. Pravalika, and also other organizing committee members includes Dr. B. Sarita, Srimati Lakshmi Prabha, Dr. Sabina Herald, Dr. V. Anuradha, Dr. Jayaprakash Narayan, Jyoti, and Swapna madams. And also, I thank our PRO, Dr. Sheshidhar sir, for giving a good coverage about this national webinar in the media. And I also specially thanks to Dr. M.S.R. Anjaneyulu, Dr. S.N. Arjun Kumar, and Mr. Santosh Kumar for extending their technical support to organize this national webinar. And also, I say thanks to the participants of this webinar, who includes from various universities, Mr. Dr. Surendra Prasad sir, Dr. Y. Subbareddy sir from Yogi Vemana University, Dr. K. Rajendra from Kakatiya University, and many other participants from the prestigious institutions from across the India. And at last, if I will not mention Advaita for her prayer song, the vote of thanks would not be a complete one. And with this, I can say the national webinar is completed. Thank you. Thank you, one and all. Santosh sir, the feedback post chesara?
చేశాను సార్, అయిపోయింది సార్.
Okay, okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Good afternoon, sir.
Sir, congrats, sir. Suresh sir.